by you. And if you want to support us, you can do so via Patreon. Just head to patreon.com/XboxEra. And as a thank you for your support, you get cool stuff and we get to keep doing what we do. Now let's get into it.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't press anything and it just disappeared. We're back.
And we're back.
Hello.
Okay.
Are we back? Okay.
Yeah.
I have no
It just went black screen. That was weird.
Welcome to episode 129 of the XboxEra podcast. I'm your host today. John, as you can see, is not hosting. I'm also joined by Aarsal, aka Soulblazerz from the You Had Me at Halo podcast. Aarsal, how are you?
Yep, doing pretty good. Though it does
Pretty
look
good.
like for some reason I have like my color temperature all the way set to cold while you guys are all the way warm.
That could partially be because of, I don't know, ever since I've switched over to bought my MacBook Pro, the camera on this is very, very warm, where on my Surface I looked constantly ill. Like I just looked like I was really pale. I mean, I'm pale anyway, but like really pale and unwell.
This is natural sunlight. I have the giant window open right in front of me, but I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I like my camera. We've obviously also got Jesse behind the scenes. He's not appearing on camera today, but we do have Jesse behind the scenes, pushing all the buttons and producing and all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah,
Hello.
there he is. He's waving to everyone. So yeah, as we all know, I'm not very good at the hosting, which means I'm not great at the segues. I'm bad at like talking about the topics properly. So this is going to be a mess that you're just going to have to deal with. But we'll see how we go nonetheless. So I guess we'll start with what we've been playing. Aarsal, have you been playing anything?
I have not too much exciting stuff. I really wanted to try Overwatch 2. Couldn't sign in, but I'm sure we'll talk all about that. Yeah. So honestly, mostly I really got into Hard Space Shipbreaker. It's just kind of addictive with its gameplay. I'm not sure if you played it yet. If you haven't, don't. You get sucked in. Other than that, just Halo. After attending the event, I got really back into Halo, just playing the game.
Oh, really? That's it?
Yeah, pretty uneventful week. I wanted to play a little bit today, but didn't have time.
Oh, okay. That's it.
Yeah,
Even
nothing special.
worse than
nothing
me in my
exciting.
Rocket League.
Yeah, I know.
So you got to
is
dip
this?
into me if you want actual like variation in things that are being played.
Well, look, I have actually been playing, and I have to thank you. Actually, am I allowed to say that? Should I say that, or will I get you
Yeah,
in trouble?
they don't. It's just a code. Who cares?
Okay, I don't know. I don't like. We get the emails, and like, I kind of read them, but I don't always read them in great detail. So I never know if I'm getting someone in trouble or getting us in trouble or not. But Soul gave me a code for the Street Fighter 6 closed beta, which I downloaded, and I had to wait 5 hours before I could play it because it wasn't actually online yet. But yeah, got into that, and yeah, Street Fighter 6 so far is pretty cool. I think Jesse's playing some footage right now. It's funny. I didn't. It took a while to get into a game, and like when I joined the Asian server, it was like, oh, your connection to this server is pretty unstable, so you might struggle. I'm like, oh, okay. And it was just like hanging a lot playing a game. So I noticed immediately that it's got a similar lobby system to Dead or Alive 4. I've seen a lot of people online talking about Street Fighter 6's lobby, and I'm like, guys, Dead or Alive 4 had this lobby. When did Dead or Alive 4 come out?
What kind of lobby system is it?
You're a little character that runs around, and you go up and challenge people, and you do stuff in this big room.
2005 for Dead or Alive 4.
Yeah, so Dead or Alive 4 had this 17 years ago. That lobby system. So I was shocked to see people getting so excited, being like, oh, look how cool this lobby is. I'm like, I'm pretty sure other fighting games have had a lobby like this. But there are some really neat things in the Street Fighter 6 lobby. Like, you can go to this little arcade section where there's all these Final Fight arcade machines, and you can just play Final Fight.
Even in this closed tech test?
Yeah. So
Wow.
because I couldn't get into a match, I was just like, okay, I'll play Final Fight. So I just jumped out of this little arcade, and it's got scan lines on it to have that look, and that was quite fun. There's also like a store. There's like a store in there that you can buy gear and clothes and stuff, which I assume is for your character. The character creator, those of you who've been keeping an eye on Twitter for Street Fighter 6 stuff, the character creator, I don't know if Jesse's going to be able to pull any up fast enough.
Who do you think I am? It's already
But
playing.
the character creator has been absolutely insane with some of the stuff people have been creating. I don't know if any of you have been keeping an eye on it, but like there's these like that. There's these characters that are just like so warped and so messed, but at the same time completely hilarious, because the character creator is so granular and goes down to such a fine level that you can like, yeah, I was just about to say you can expand the calves, and you can make the forearms bigger or smaller, and you can make the neck really thick and the shoulders broad. Look, the level of detail in the character creator, at least in my experience, is probably the most in-depth I've ever seen. I mean, look at that. It's just there's some absolutely hilarious.
I was thinking
stuff in
something
there.
like Soul Calibur, where like they had like the crazy faces, not whatever the heck that is.
No, it's full on, and you're just seeing the bodies there, the faces as well. You can do all sorts of stuff with them. It's just but I'm one of those people where I love options, but don't overwhelm me.
Yeah.
With options, and the Street Fighter 6 character customization is just overwhelming. But yeah, it's pretty good. Visually, it's really nice. The RE engine seems to be showing its flexibility. There's some the face character creator stuff.
How's the gameplay itself, though? That's the main thing. How's it feel?
Yeah, the gameplay. It's funny. I actually didn't realize they were going. I forgot they were going to the modern. So they've implemented a modern control scheme and a classic control scheme. So modern is where you've just got light, medium, heavy attack, and then a button for specials, a dedicated button for specials. So it's basically, I guess you could dub it the casual control scheme. And then they've got the classic control scheme, which is your light, medium, heavy punch, light, medium, heavy kick. I just tend to go classic out of habit.
What's the default one?
Default is modern.
Really?
I want to say.
Wait, like you don't got to
Yes.
do the whole joystick and do the Hadouken? Just press a button in a direction? What?
So you just, yes. So like, for example, if you're playing as Ryu, you know, forward and special will give you your fireball, your Hadouken. Back and special will do your spinning kick. No, sorry, just standing still will do your fireball. Forward will do your uppercut.
Okay.
Back will do your spinning kick.
That kind of feels
the-
like Smash a bit in that regard. Right? Just in terms of just
you
directional moves and special buttons.
Yeah, I guess so. Yes, a little bit. Yeah, and
but
maybe
even
that's
Sma-
what they were channeling.
Even in Smash,
Maybe
you can
that's-
do the instead of doing the directional button, you can do the actual movements
Yeah.
instead, right?
That's right. You can still do, even in the casual control scheme, you can still do the traditional stuff.
Okay.
So you can still do your down, swing to forward, and attack for a fireball and that sort of stuff. But I mean, it was weird for me as someone who's been playing fighters as long as I have, and I've been so used to Capcom's 6-button control scheme. It was actually a weird adjustment for me to try and use that dumbed down one. But I'm going to keep mucking around with it. Maybe because I haven't played it enough. I actually, at the moment, think I prefer how 5 feels, Street Fighter 5. But that just could be like, I felt the same way about Street Fighter 5 when I first played it. I felt like I preferred 4, and then I went back and played 4, and I'm like, ooh, hold on, no, I actually prefer 5. So I think it's just that situation. So I think if I spend more time with 6 and then sort of go back to 5 to test myself, I'll probably end up preferring how 6 feels.
Well,
But
looks, visuals. Like, I mean, the
visuals
screen-wise,
are
it looks
nice. The visuals are really nice, but I really liked Five's art style,
good.
and I really liked the PBR look it had in Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
But 6, don't get me wrong, 6 looks fantastic. I'm still undecided. I love the visual flair stuff that they've done for 6 versus 5.
Yeah.
That all looks awesome. But I'm still, again, I just haven't spent enough time with it to fully judge. But I'll play some more today. Hopefully I'll get a review copy so I can review it.
Yep, we should be on the list. I asked for 2, so we can fight each other.
And if you want to write something for even just the test you played, feel free. We can knock a review out with that.
Maybe, but that involves doing work, so we'll see how it
That's true, right?
We'll have to see. I don't like doing work. As
you know, speaking of games with fancy, art style that's kind of out there. Here's my segue.
Oh, what is the segue? I haven't even got the Discord thing up. What's the
technically
other thing?
topic,
Yes,
but
yes.
it relates well.
So I'm trying to think if I played anything else though. I don't think so. I went back
new
to
Game Pass titles?
No, I went back to, I think I said this last week, Alan Wake Remastered.
Oh.
I've come to realize that my backlog is ridiculous, so I'm going back to other games that I've just been sitting on for ages, like the Turok Remaster, to try and get through that, so I can get all the achievements. Last of Us, so I can get through it. Last of Us Part 2. Someone told me on Twitter, a friend told me on Twitter that the second half with Abby is better, and I'm actually finding that's the case. It's less boring
kind of
with Abby. I don't know why. Just the Abby section of the game appears to be less boring than the Ellie section of the game. I don't know why that is. And funny story, my cousin allowed me to console share with him again, his PS5. Turns out he bought Last of Us Part 1. And he's also pre-ordered God of War Ragnarok. So I get to play both of those without having to pay $250 for them.
Ridiculous.
Which is fantastic.
So you tried Last of Us Part 1 then?
Not yet. I'm going to get through 2, and then I'm going to... Because Last of Us Part 1 doesn't have a difficulty trophy, so I'm just going to put it on super easy and play through the whole thing and get all the trophies for it.
Wait, you're not playing the second on the highest difficulty, are you?
No, I don't think I can be bothered.
Because my experience with Naughty Dog and difficulty is they are
terrible. Uncharted on crushing was... Oh my god. It was up there with COD. It was up there with the CODs on Veteran.
You know, it's not even just Naughty Dog. It's even like Sony Santa Monica. Same problem I had with God of War. I put it on the second highest difficulty to start off with. It felt like a complete artificial shift. It didn't seem like the guy was any smarter. It didn't seem like there were more mobs or that kind of stuff. It was just, they do more damage, I do less.
But how many games really get the highest difficulty right, though?
Halo. And that's my bar, right? When I compare high difficulties, to be honest. So Halo, Ninja Gaiden, which I also played recently. Oh yeah, I guess I started the second game. That's something I've been playing. Great game.
Did you? I've never played the second one.
I've never beaten.
I bought it.
Yeah,
but never played it.
God,
is it good?
It's amazing. It's like it takes all the good of the first game in terms of the action combat and gets it to the next level. I want to say it's not as good in terms of like maybe overall arcing systems or that kind of stuff.
How much did they copy Elden Ring in Ninja Gaiden 2? Is it Ninja Gaiden 2 a Souls game? No? It's not a Souls game?
Wait, this is a joke, right? Are you thinking of Neo too?
Yeah. Come on, mate. You got to be more onto it than that.
It's a really good game. If anyone's... But I am not playing this stupid version on Game Pass. No way. No, thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's the...
Sigma.
The Sigma ones? Yeah.
Like, I looked into it. They literally, because like I think the console couldn't run it or something, they just removed enemies completely. The empty hallways that you run down instead of like a console going down to like 10 FPS, which you did in the 360 at the time. Sorry, the Xbox. No, it's a 360 game, right?
360, yes.
360 Ninja Gaiden 2. Yeah.
Back compat.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's back compat. I bought it. I kept waiting for it to go on sale. And it's just... It's famous now. Ninja Gaiden 2 is now famous for never going on sale. So I just gave up and I paid 50 Australian dollars for it. I'm
Yeah.
just like, man,
God, I
can't
bought
be bothered.
the day it became BC. I went to my local EB Games or now GameStop, and I found a local copy for like $6. Since
Oh,
then, my
wow.
local copy was destroyed many times over by children and little kids running around all over the place. But then my brother bought it digitally, so
Wow.
I just signed into his account. But I can't do physical anymore. No, thank
Yeah,
you.
nah.
No.
The only physical game that I need to hold on to is Manhunt. Because Manhunt is BC, but it's banned in Australia.
Oh.
So you can't buy it digitally in Australia. So I'd need someone to somehow give me a universal code for it for me to be able to get it here. So
it
I
was
have
region
to
locked
use
back
my
then
disc
too, right?
because
You can't
I've got it on disc.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So I'm kind of tied to an Xbox with a disc drive for a while.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, it's a completely different topic, but I don't see in the foreseeable future them ever releasing a console without the ability to at least run a disc on it, you know, be it extendable or not.
Maybe they'll release a disc drive attachment,
Yes,
like Sony's
yes.
apparently
Oh
going to do.
God.
I mean, you never know. They might do one for the Series S.
Yeah.
Wasn't there
Who
also the
knows?
rumor that they were looking back into the send in your disc and get a digital copy system again? I remember hearing
were
that.
they?
Yeah, I gotta look that
I'd
up
love
again.
if they did that.
That'd be amazing.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. Like, we know we had the 360 HD DVD add-on, so I wouldn't be shocked to see... I personally would not be shocked to see Microsoft exploring and a Blu-ray drive, a disc drive add-on for the Series S. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I mean, if Sony's literally doing it, then like, yeah, I could definitely see them looking into it too. Yeah.
And if they do it, hopefully they make it look nice and have it blend in nicely with the Series S.
I'm just expecting like a normal external drive, just sitting back with a USB showing and everything.
Nah, I hope they try and attempt to
Yeah.
hide it, because I don't know what Sony's going to do, unless
Yeah.
Sony's waiting for their redesign before they do it. But man, this is the longest what have we been playing probably ever. So we'll move on. So yes, Aarsal did try to segue us nicely, and I wrecked it, because we were talking about Street Fighter having nice flair. And yes, speaking of flair, EA showed the Need for Speed Unbound trailer, which I thought looked so good. Like,
Okay, nice.
It was giving me... I don't know how many of you remember Auto Modelista on PlayStation 2. There was a Capcom arcade racing game on PlayStation 2 called Auto Modelista. And the whole thing was like cel-shaded anime style.
Yeah.
And you had all cool effects, and it looked like a cartoon. And when I first saw the clips and stuff of Unbound, I'm like, oh man, that's giving me vibes of Auto Modelista. And yeah, it's I'm very, very excited for Need for Speed Unbound. I'm definitely gonna, if we don't get a copy, I'm definitely going to try that 10-hour trial. Our stuff carries across, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
you do
just
the
the
10-hour
base game,
trials.
but with a timer on it.
I don't think I've used my EA 10-hour trial since like 3-4
I've never
years.
used one. I
Never,
haven't used one.
Yeah.
Never used one yet. So Need for Speed will probably be my first one. It looks like, look at that. Like, see how when the car's driving and it's got all the cool that's just, I love stuff like that. That just looks so cool.
And the trailer had two things. Sorry, yeah.
No, go.
Now, I was thinking the trailer had two things, which is something I've been like dreaming come back to the series, which was the couple pink slips, racing for a car and getting the loser's car, and police chases. It looked like that was a major focus on the trailer. And like they had the roadblock set up and everything. So like, as someone that played way too much Most Wanted 2006, 2007, I don't remember the year, I've been waiting for a game like this to come back.
Yeah. And have you been keeping an eye on the Twitter account?
No, not at all. Actually.
That Twitter account is run by a complete smartass. And like, people have been absolutely ripping on this game for some reason. And that Twitter account is completely clapping back at everyone. It's been amazing. But I think the game looks incredible. But I also see, I've never been big into Need for Speed, even from back in the earliest PC days. I've never been a Need for Speed guy. Because back then I was still too into my Sega arcade races.
You predated Need for Speed, right?
Oh, yeah. I predate everything. So the first Need for Speed that I really played properly, like bought and played right through to completion, was, believe it or not, Need for Speed 2015.
2015? Like just Need for Speed?
The one that's just called Need for Speed. And that was on PlayStation 4. I got the platinum for it. Like, I played that game. Like, that was the one by Ghost. The developer was Ghost of that one. And that was, oh my God, absolutely love that game. It's so good. So I'm very, very excited for Need for Speed Unbound. That's December 2nd, I want to say.
Pretty soon.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was early December.
Yes, so that's actually not far away at all. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
If they can really channel Most Wanted's, like, because Most Wanted had, I thought, like some of the best chases I've ever had in a racing game, period. It's a usual police chase. The stars go up. More and more people chase you. You got the helicopters. But you also have like the roadblocks, and you could smash into them running full speed. And your driver's obviously dead, but you're not, right? So you're still driving. And at the very ending, like this one like racer cop shows up, and he's gonna like take. God, it was something else. I really hope
I own plenty of Need for Speeds through Origin, giving games away.
Yeah.
And like all that. So I've got like a whole bunch of Need for Speeds, but 2015 is the only one I've actually I bought it, I played it, loved it, the whole lot. But yes, so we went on Need for Speed because Aarsal did his best to get me back on track. But we're going to get off games for just a second, because as you can see from the thumbnail on the podcast, the name of the podcast, and it's video game related, but also crosses into the movie realm. Nintendo also held a direct for the Mario Brothers movie trailer. And of course, let's be honest, what everyone was waiting for more than anything was how Chris Pratt would sound as Mario. Now, I'll just get out of the way now that I thought the trailer itself was fantastic. The CG quality was incredible, especially coming out of COVID and how CG has somehow been so negatively impacted by COVID. It was good to see how good this looked visually. I thought it was just stunning. I thought that moment at the start with the penguins was hilarious, where they made it look really dramatic, where they were throwing the snowballs, but then like Bowser's just sitting there like, what the hell are you idiots doing? I thought Jack Black was great as Bowser. I can't believe that's Keegan-Michael Key as Toad.
Yeah, that got me by surprise a little bit.
Like if I hadn't already known in advance that he was Toad, there's no way I would have guessed.
I forgot.
No chance.
I'm like, who is this? Sounds a little familiar. And then the credits played. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, it was Keegan-Michael Key.
I could not believe that. The other one that shocked me was the Penguin King. The Penguin King at the start. I was trying to place his voice, and I still haven't had it 100% confirmed. But isn't the Penguin King Carrie Payton from The Walking Dead, who is Ezekiel in The Walking Dead?
Yes.
I'm sure that's who the Penguin King is.
I'm pretty sure that's it. Yep.
And his voice was perfect for that penguin. It was so good. Yes, the little Penguin King there. I'm pretty sure that's Carrie Payton from The Walking Dead.
I think it is. Because I remember someone talking about it on Reddit afterwards.
Yeah, he was great. And then we heard Chris Pratt talking like Chris Pratt. Trying to put a slight New York Italian accent in there. I'm sorry, like, I've been seeing a lot of people online trying to convince themselves that he sounded okay. Like, he did not. And it's okay to admit that. Like, when they first announced Chris Pratt was going to be doing Mario, everyone was dreading it. Everyone's like, oh, God, seriously? Chris? Don't get me wrong. I've got no problem with Chris Pratt as an actor. Love him in Guardians. Absolutely loved him in all his old... Remember how he used to appear in all those comedies? Like, those Judd Apatow comedies and all that sort of stuff? Like, loved Chris Pratt back then. He's great as Star-Lord. As an actor, he's fine. Love him. He's great. His voice does not belong paired with Mario. He's even good as main character in the Lego movie. His voice works great there. Doesn't belong paired with Mario. It just doesn't. And it's okay to admit that Nintendo made a bad call there. It's totally okay.
I forgot he was Emmett in the Lego movies, I'll be honest.
Yeah, he's Emmett in the Lego movie. And his voice works there because Emmett is just like... Because Chris Pratt is such a bland everyman, his voice is perfect for what Emmett is, which is what Emmett is. He's a nothing everyman in the Lego movie. So Chris Pratt's voice is actually perfect there. He's not perfect as Mario. Like, it's wrong. It doesn't work. Like, to me, and I understand there are people that are like, you can't have Charles Martinet doing it. You can't. I understand that. You can't have Charles Martinet doing... Am I even pronouncing his name right? You can't have Charles Martinet doing his high-pitched wahoos and whatever for 2 hours. I completely understand that argument. But at the same time, you can't just have Chris Pratt doing his own voice with a slight New York spin on it. Like, it's just... I
mean, he's definitely there for the name power. As annoying as it is.
And that's what Nintendo did.
Yeah.
And you know how you know? Because clearly, so what's happened is the casting agents have obviously had all these other guys auditioning for the role.
Yeah.
And you can tell that they've chosen all the other actors based on how well they do the voice, because all the others seemed so perfect. Kerry Payton was perfect as the Penguin. Jack Black was amazing as Bowser. Keegan-Michael Key, incredible as Toad. But then they're like, well, with Mario, we need someone bankable. We need someone that everyone knows. We need a safe option. We need the family-friendly guy that all the parents know and will want to take their kids to see. Like, so they went with Chris Pratt. Because they couldn't have done it based on hearing him and going, yep, that's the voice for Mario.
No, it's 100% star power. I don't know how he became this bankable name, I'll be honest. I mean, I like the guy.
Neither do I.
But
neither do I. I don't get it either. Like, I don't even think Chris Pratt's much of a leading man for movies in general.
Yeah.
Is he?
I mean, like, Jurassic World did really well at the box office. That's the issue, right?
Yeah, but then so did Avatar. Does that mean Sam Worthington's a great leading man?
They tried for like 3-4 years after. He was in Terminator Salvation. He was in a few other things too. Like, they really tried.
Man on a Ledge.
Yeah. They really tried with him. It just
Clash of the Titans.
My God, they destroyed Clash of the Titans. That was one of my all-time favorite movies as a kid. Like, I was like 2 years old or 1 year old when that movie came out, so I saw it as like a 4 or 5 year old. And
though I'd argue there is a second cast member who's also there. I mean, she's great. She's a good actress, but Anna Taylor-Joy, I think, is also there for the name.
I haven't heard her voice as Peach, so I don't know.
True. But I mean, she's a really big name these days, coming out.
Is she?
She definitely is. She's becoming one of the bankable Hollywood younger females for sure.
I don't know about that. I would have thought that's Emma Stone.
No, Emma Stone, not at all. I mean, what's the last thing she was in? I can't even.
What? Emma Stone? No. What do you mean?
These
Emma
days?
Stone.
No. It's
Zendaya.
Zendaya for sure.
Yeah,
but back to Chris Pratt. Okay, I do want to say I noticed the accent right away. Even his first line before he said, I don't even remember what he said. There was an accent there. It was a Brooklyn accent. And his last line is like super obvious that it's a Brooklyn accent. And I'm going on.
The last line definitely there is, but that's what I'm saying. But it's still ultimately Chris Pratt's voice. Like,
yes, it is technically.
I don't know. Like, I started because people are like, well, then who would you suggest? And I'm like, but it's hard to suggest someone because you haven't heard them trying to do a voice. So how can you suggest? All you can go on is an actor's past performances and see if anything like I started thinking of Italian actors, because obviously if the actor is Italian, they probably have a more natural Italian accent.
So right away,
Like,
you would prefer there's an actual American Italian accent rather than
oh,
like a
not
Brooklyn
not
accent.
for any specific reason, just more for the fact that, like, for example, right, I'm Australian, but other Aussies would detect the Greek ethnic twang in my Australian accent because I'm Greek.
Interesting.
Italian actors would have a similar thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but there's still plenty of great Italian actors out there that do great voices. So at first I laughed at the idea of Robert De Niro, but then I thought more about it, and I'm like, well, if they decide to go with an older, gruffer sounding Mario, De Niro could work. But I thought, for a while, maybe John Turturro, I think, could do an amazing, quirky Mario. I don't know how many of you know John Turturro. He's the crazy FBI agent in Transformers. He's
in
very,
something
very
recently
sneaky.
that he was really
He's
good.
Very, very sneaky, sir, as Mr. Deeds.
He was in the Batman as a very serious role, and he played it really well. Yeah.
He was in the Batman. I think John Turturro could be a great, quirky Mario.
That would have been a great cast, actually. I'd fully agree. Yeah.
But he's not a leading man.
Exactly. It's the name power, right? That's the issue.
That's my problem with it. Nintendo they made a bad choice with Chris Pratt.
Well, I wouldn't put it on a Nintendo. It's Illumination, definitely. They just gave the IP. They have a little bit of oversight.
Reckon?
100% Illumination.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
For sure. I don't know.
What makes you say that, though? What makes you say that it was Illumination?
It's just the way movies work, right? The studio has their own casting directors, their own producers, own executive producers. Nintendo's going to be involved as a producer.
Nintendo. This is
That's true.
Nintendo and
That's true.
Miyamoto. There's no way known that they didn't have a massive say in who was cast as Mario.
That's true.
There's no way known. It's like Marvel. There's been stories over the years about how hands-on Marvel gets with their video games and how much they meddle. There's no way known Nintendo didn't get involved in Mario's
They might have had like their
voice
hand
specifically.
twisted or something for this choice.
Yeah, just...
Also,
I
I mean,
don't know,
it could be a franchise, right? Every movie released these days, you need to look at it as a franchise aspect. So you can't hire someone too aged. It's just the nature of that aspect. Mario 2, 3, 4, who knows, right? All the actors cast right now are relatively young. So
yeah. I hope the movie's good. My kids are excited to see it.
the animation looks phenomenal. Like,
Indeed, yeah.
I
Visually
watched
looked
Despicable
amazing.
Me movies. They look good. They don't look this good.
They don't look like this.
Yeah.
This is... Yeah. This is like... And I think I saw online there was talk about the fact that this movie had been delayed because Nintendo had quality concerns.
Interesting.
So that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. I mean, Nintendo knows more than most about that famous saying about delayed games. But yeah,
I mean, I'll be there day one, regardless, right?
Oh yeah,
I watched Uncharted day one. I can watch this day one. I'll be there.
No, I didn't. I waited for Uncharted. But yeah, this one I'll be there day one with the kids. They'll be excited to see it. I still don't know if it'll be as good as Sonic. Sonic right now, Sonic 1 and 2 are the two best video game movies.
It'll be
going
different.
Around.
Without the live action shackle, it can just focus on like the fantastical aspect of it.
Yeah.
Should be nice.
But those Sonic movies are so good.
Yeah.
They are so good. And Sonic 2 is legitimately better than Sonic 1. And I fully expect Sonic 3 to be another step up again.
The craziest part of the Sonic movies to me were that like they were not just like enjoyable for me as like an older person, but they're also like they were clearly designed for the kids to have a good time too. Yeah. Also, for some reason, the Sonic IP is beloved amongst children, even today. I don't understand
nuts. Isn't it nuts?
I really don't get it, I'll be honest.
Sonic hasn't had a genuinely decent game since like Generations.
Yep. Not counting Mania.
I mean, there was Sonic Mania. There was Sonic Mania
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of a big AAA 3D...
Colors, right?
Nah, that was
no, not even Generations.
super
maybe
big or successful. It was Generations, like that was it.
Yeah.
And yet somehow this IP is still massive, absolutely massive. And now with the movies, forget it.
Yeah,
like again, I understand gamers have their bubble, but if you take a step outside that bubble, Sonic is almost like this with Mario, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's right there, Sonic, and that's with no decent games.
And you think
Like-
Sonic is big, and then you have that reveal at the end of the second movie, and man, my whole trailer like gas. I'm like, yo, we're all adults here, bro. Come on, are you serious?
Sonic, yeah, the Sonic movies are just like, I was shocked to learn that Sega made in partnership with Gameloft. Sega made an official Sonic game in Roblox.
What? Really?
Yeah, I was like,
A 3D
what do
Sonic
you
game?
mean? Sorry. No, now
Like
you're
a,
muted.
Like a 3D Sonic game?
Yes, there's like it's basically like a Sonic Adventures, but it's in
Interesting.
Roblox, and the quality's astonishingly good for Roblox. It's nuts. Like Sega
Wait,
has
this
just
isn't the game you're playing right now, Jesse, is it?
yeah, that's
Holy
it.
crap. That's Roblox?
Look at that. That's Roblox. That
What
is
the
Roblox.
hell?
It is absolutely crazy how good that is.
Huh.
It's nuts.
Wow, okay. To be honest, I actually really liked the latest trailer of Frontiers, so I'm kind of a little more optimistic about it than I was initially. But
And I got us on the review list for Frontiers.
yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know. I'm not sure yet with Frontiers, just because they never make good Sonic games, so I don't know how much I trust.
Burned too many times. Did you see the one comment that was like, I can't wait until like the Switch 3 and Mario will look this good on the console.
Mario can look that good right now on Series X and
God.
PlayStation 5. With Nintendo's talent, it could look that good now, but
Goddamn Switch.
yeah,
man.
unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Now, my God, we've been talking for so long, and there's so
Yeah.
much to talk about.
Yeah.
Speaking of trailers, we also got the Dead Space
Mm.
remakes gameplay trailer. As a massive Dead Space fan, it looked great.
Mm.
I'm noticing that this Dead Space remake is straddling that line between Resident Evil 2 remake and a more bog standard remaster remake. So it's not quite as low effort as the remaster make type of thing.
I mean, there's a go-to example that fits it really well, right? Demon Souls. That's the one I go to, which is it's basically the exact same game. They tried their hardest to keep it as similar as possible, but they ramped the visuals up to the next level compared to what released in 09 or whatever. the hell
Nah,
that game
this
was.
goes further.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
Space
is
goes
a
further.
legitimate full remake, full new
Yeah.
script, full new voice acting. Isaac
Yeah.
talks.
Extra
It's
content.
much more of a new
It
game that's
does have
also
extra
leading
content?
off.
Yeah, this
I
is
did
what
not
I'm
know that.
saying. It's not just a visual upgrade. Like,
Oh.
yes, the core of what's there is the original Dead Space game, scene
Yeah.
for scene.
Hmm.
But
I don't even
they
know that it's
did-
scene for scene. They actually talked about it's potentially leading off into like a different new series that isn't
Really?
beholden to 2 or 3. Yeah,
Oh wow. Oh,
yeah,
okay,
it's
I did not
full
go that far.
on new. Yes, they.
What about this like
compl-
zero gravity segments? I heard those are relatively new to the game.
They were
right?
from
No,
2.
no, they were in there.
They were in the
Th-
first
They've
game?
got a different control system that is the
Mm.
2-1 instead of the 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never
Yeah.
could make it past 2 hours. The first game is just I can't do horror, not really. So
Yeah, it takes a lot more elements from 2. Like Isaac
Mm.
speaks in the second game.
Yeah.
But he didn't in the first game.
I've seen that opening cutscene enough times.
Yeah, so this looks
And they
this
got
looks
that voice
incredible.
actor back for this one.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks absolutely can't wait. Between this and Resident Evil 4 remake. Isn't that funny? 2 games that I leaked. I find that funny. Both of them. I kind of sat back and I saw a meme. Someone made a meme making fun of the fact that people are excited for these 2 games, but then they bagged Sony's ones. And I mean, that's just another tangent because as if you're going to compare Horizon Zero Dawn
God.
getting remastered to Horizon, Zero Dawn getting remastered to like Resident Evil 4 being remade. Like Resident Evil 4 is like 17 years old. And Dead Space is like 13 years old. Like
2007, I think.
it's something like 13 years old or
2008.
something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so even older. Wow, that's
Yeah.
50.
It'll be
Oh, wow.
just under 15 years when it comes
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. So, like, as if you're going to compare Horizon Zero Dawn. It's actually one of the topics anyway. But yeah, they were both two games that
It is
I kinda
$70
leaked on Twitter.
It is for sure.
What
They
is?
confirmed that.
Yes, Dead Space
Dead
Remake
Space.
is $70.
Okay,
Yes, it is.
All right.
It is.
All right,
It's 100 and
20.
Australian. It's 110. I want to say.
Okay. Do you think
You will
it'll-
get a
yeah,
discount with Game Pass.
So you know how in the US the controversy was the cost of games went up $10.
Yeah.
Well, funnily enough, these third-party games in Australia also only went up $10. It was only Sony that upped them to $125 here.
Really?
Yeah. The COD, the Modern Warfare 2 cross-gen bundle, is $110. And that's COD. That's Activision
Really?
and COD. That's 100. So Australia's standard price for video games for the last 20 years has been $99.95. That's been the standard price for 20 years. Then with this gen, they upped it to $110. So we got the $10 like you guys got. Sony's like, no, 25.
Sony
And I'm just
doesn't
like,
do regional for some reason. It's really frustrating.
Well, okay, so here we go. If we're going to get technical about it, Sony's price is closer to the correct price.
Yeah, no, but that's what I mean by regional pricing, right? Just because it's the exact conversion doesn't mean that's what you should charge. Otherwise, not a soul could be able to play games in like the lesser.
That's
wealthy
exactly
countries.
right. So Sony's basically taken $70, converted it to Australian, and added 10%, and added their little Sony tax that they've always had here for a while, and it's gone $125. Third parties seem to have just gone, nah, $10, regardless of region, $10.
Yep.
So we just
Makes
got an
a lot
extra
of
$10.
sense.
So I just had enough rewards for a $10 credit on Microsoft Rewards. So I've put that in my account, and I'll buy
Nice.
COD
Nice.
for 100 instead of the 110, because
Yeah.
I don't think we can get a code for COD.
Nice.
So I'll have to, and it ain't on Game Pass yet. So I'll have to.
Yeah. There go
I'll
the
have to
dreams
buy it.
of this year, right? Well, I mean, it was always
Yeah, no.
unrealistic.
Look, it'll when it eventually goes through, we'll get Modern Warfare 2 on Game Pass.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to wait
Yeah.
that long. Like, I'm happy to break my day one rule once in a blue moon for certain games here and there. But as I always do, I'm going off on a tangent now. So
Seriously.
the Dead Space trailer.
Do you think
Dead
it'll sell
Space-
well? Sorry, really quick. The game. Do you think it'll do well?
Well, define well.
Well enough for them to be okay with funding, say, either a sequel or Dead Space 2 remake? To bring the IP back,
Yes.
let's say, properly.
Yes. I think so.
Yeah. And they
I
do
think it
have
will.
their EA Premiere or whatever for PC, right? I'm sure that helps a fair bit with
Yeah,
releases
yeah.
like these.
There is one
I-
kink in it, and that's that the dev EA Motive is the one working on the Iron Man game next. So it would be a long time before they could do another Dead Space.
Motive's working on the Iron Man game.
See, for me, that tears me in two, because I adore Dead Space, but I want
Yeah.
that Iron Man game more than anything on earth. So if I have to wait a little bit longer for the Dead Space 2 remake because of Iron Man, I'm happy to take that hit. There's plenty of games coming where I don't really have to worry about it.
Yeah,
That's fine.
fully agreed.
What else did we get? We got CDProjekt Red came out and made us all laugh with their roadmap. Because apparently they're going to do like 47 games in the next 3 years, which is pretty funny given how long they took to do Cyberpunk and fix it. So unless CDProjekt Red are planning on staffing up in a massive way.
Are bigger than I expected. When they went through the games, they talked about the number of people on it, and each one was like at least 100 plus people working on the games, which isn't as big these days, but it's still
That's
like
not-
more than I expected.
Well, not really. I mean, well, put it this way: look at The Last of Us. Look at stuff like The Last of Us.
Oh,
Look at
yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
God of War. Isn't it funny how God of War revealed just how many studios worked on God of War? This is why. So God of War went gold.
Yeah.
I'm skipping ahead a little bit now, but
Yeah.
but it links in. So God of War has gone gold, and they put out a tweet saying, "We've gone gold thanks to everyone that helped us make God of War." And there's like nearly 10 studios. It's like
Holy crap.
7, 8, 9 studios all chipped in on God of War. This is why your games have gone up in price. you can't have these big AAA productions anymore with small teams. Like, even Sony's games, Santa Monica didn't do it by themselves. Like, you need help. Naughty Dog didn't do Last of Us 2 by themselves. They needed help. This is why I hate the way there's this push for best graphics, highest production value. My God, more. I hate it because this is what it's doing. Like,
it's actively hurting the industry.
Yeah,
people are wondering why these publishers are even open to sell. Let's say, dude, look at the ballooning cost of game development, man. AAA game development is ridiculous.
This is probably why they want to be bought by a Microsoft or by a Tencent or by a Google or by an Amazon, because these trillion-dollar companies can afford to just burn the money on these AAA productions.
And I get it. There's an element of greed obviously involved in terms of their monetization, but at the same time, there's also an element of, hey, game costs ballooned. And then people say, okay, sure, that's fine, but so the number of people playing. Kind of. Number of people playing did go up, but it didn't go up as much as these costs went up. You know what I mean?
No.
Or inflation or anything like that. It's just...
No. It's scary. Like, it's scary to think. That's why I don't like this push. That's why I'm kind of glad that Sony's pivoting a bit. Away, not away per se, but like Sony's saying now, okay, well, we need other stuff. We need some games as a service stuff.
But they've cultivated an audience that expects this highest production quality the moment they see that logo show up on that screen. You know, so like, let's see how it works. Because
that's why Nintendo are the masters.
Yeah,
that's why Nintendo are the masters. Look at them; they've got these unbelievable games that don't cost so much to make. I'm not saying they're cheap to make per se, but comparatively speaking, compared to their rivals, they're much cheaper to make.
For sure. And you know what? Thinking on it, I feel like the Switch, being as weak as it is, might be helping them out in that aspect. We're like, hey, you can't even focus on this cutting edge graphics, so don't give a crap. Just do
it's
what
keeping
you can
the
with
leash on, but it's keeping it on in a good way.
Yeah.
But again,
a little too
tangent
tight still, but...
So CDProjekt Red, I'm not sure how they plan on. What is it? 4 games?
So they said the next
4 games. They said
trilogy. Well, 3 games will release within 6 years of each other. That's what they said.
No way.
That's 3 years a game. These days, I don't.
No way.
Well, The Witcher wasn't supposed to be them directly. I think they're working with someone who they haven't said who it is. They're also switching to Unreal Engine 5 for everything.
That should help a lot. That should help a lot.
So they've got someone they're working with for the Witcher trilogy. The Cyberpunk sequel will be them. And then this new IP, which they haven't said exactly what it is, will be them. And so it's 3 years from now or 2 years from now, and then planned for every 3 years after that. But it's CDProjekt Red, so it definitely won't actually be.
Yeah.
And we expect them to crunch the living hell out of everyone.
Why would they even give these dates? I don't get it. After the insane release of Cyberpunk.
That's what I'm saying. That's why.
Because they never learned.
Why?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I saw people saying, like, this transparency is great and Xbox needs to do this. I'm like, well, Xbox has already told us a lot of what they're working on that's coming.
We know what's coming.
So, yeah.
We just don't have dates.
And we got CG trailers, not a flipping PowerPoint.
Yeah, but we know what's coming. We know Fable's coming. We know Perfect Dark's coming. We know Avowed is coming. We know Microsoft's got a lot coming. Like, I think people forget how much they've actually got coming. The problem is, at the moment with Microsoft, it's looking like there's going to be nothing, and then bang, deluge, which probably isn't the best way to do it. It's just,
well,
it's where they are at the moment.
Stop. You know what I mean? Once it starts, hopefully it just doesn't stop anymore. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
We'll see, though. Next year, H2 might be a little more...
This was the 1 year I just think there wasn't anything, because 2020 was good, 2021 was good, 2022, not much, but what did come out has been good so far. Grounded is great. Pentiment looks very good.
I'm counting Deathloop as an Xbox game for this year, all right? I know a lot of people don't.
Well, technically it is. Technically.
Yeah.
And that also means you're adding in Ghostwire next year.
Exactly.
Yeah, even more.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
And speaking of Deathloop, so another good segue there, Aarsal. It's funny. So last week we were talking about Deathloop. If Jesse 2 weeks ago,
I think, actually, because I was listening to the podcast right now, and you were talking about it. Like,
And I was saying that while I was playing Deathloop, it really gave me Death of the Outsider vibes. Dishonored, Death of the Outsider. And then the head of Kane was like, yeah, Deathloop and Dishonored take place in the same universe. And I'm like, well, there you go.
It felt obvious with all the powers that are the exact same, the warp and the linking people together. Everything felt like the void powers from Dishonored.
For me, it wasn't even the powers, because I haven't played that much of Deathloop. Just that's why I use that really nebulous term, the vibe. There's also an Australian meme related to that too, and any Aussies watching will know what the vibe is all about. Have you ever seen a movie called The Castle? Mm-mm. There's an old Australian comedy called The Castle. And there's this point where there's this really shitty lawyer who's fighting a case. And his argument was, it's just the vibe. It's the vibe of it. So that's what I was saying about the vibe of Deathloop. It just gave me...
Death of the Outsider?
Yeah, Death of the Outsider is great. Really, really good. If you play it, you'll instantly know what I'm talking about when I say it reminds me of
Deathloop.
And
it's got FPS boost. It's very nice.
But not 2, right? For some reason?
It didn't work. It broke the physics. They tried.
Makes sense. Yeah,
which is why some BC games don't happen.
Yeah.
It's not licensing issues. Stuff just breaks.
People really underestimate how much work goes into some things like this. You know what I mean? Like, goddamn. But yeah, I have yet to complete an Arcane game. I was hoping Deathloop will be my first, but it might be Redfall. Turns out, we'll see. There's too much stuff to play, honestly.
It might be. I know. But speaking of stuff breaking, I'm doing okay with these tangents. Segues there. The killer. Now, this came out of nowhere, and it was brought to the attention of Xbox by Nikki, FGC Nikki, who is very, very good at Killer Instinct. He noticed that the Killer Instinct ranked leaderboards were hacked, like they were taken down. And this just like was put in the spotlight very, very suddenly and very, very quickly. And I think then Jez also magnified it, and they fixed it super, super quick. Probably
really quick.
I mean, I don't know if the Killer Instinct team's doing... I don't know, like, which part of Xbox would even fix something like that?
Publishing, probably? I don't know.
Because there's no... Like, Iron Galaxy's not touching Killer Instinct. Yeah. So I wonder who within Xbox is fixing something like the Killer Instinct ranked leaderboards. Like, I'm shocked that it was fixed so quickly, because I didn't think anyone was doing anything on Killer Instinct. On the old game.
I feel like
I always wonder, do they have teams that really, they've just got a team that focuses on their older first party stuff and just every once in a while doing maintenance, because they still have servers. They leave their servers up a very long time, and they don't break or go down that often. So.
And it's not just about the servers being up, right? It's also like, take a look at EA a little bit with Titanfall these days, right? Like Titanfall 2 was unplayable for a while because they didn't bother maintaining, they didn't bother actively,
that's what I mean.
Scanning for cheaters. You don't see that issue with Microsoft as much.
Dark Souls 3 on PC could not be played for a year online.
Yeah. There's Killer Instinct. Those leaderboards were fixed within hours.
There was another example. Not Killer Instinct, Microsoft, Halo, right? Halo Wars 2 was down. Didn't realize. They told someone, the person, okay, let's check it out. I think within like 24
there was
hours.
someone that was constantly reminding them, wasn't there?
It was like one evenings of tweeting. A little bit back and forth. But it was
very angry tweeting.
Wasn't there one specific person that was
there was one specific person, yes. But
full on letting them know about Halo Wars 2 being down?
But they fixed it in like 30 hours or something. Like, it wasn't like this, mayday, mayday, mayday. Like, what's happening? It's just like, hey, can you fix this? Sure, done. Like, it's... when Microsoft wants to be reactive, I feel like they can be really reactive. Like, even the gold difference, price difference changed. Another Halo example is... there's a Halo tournament in a couple weeks, like the Worlds tournament. They changed the actual playlist like formation within like a few hours of pros coming out and talking to them about it. Like, it was so quick, it kind of blew my mind. I'm like, what the hell? Microsoft's good at this stuff. They really are.
Yeah, they seem to be. You know what they're not good at though? Putting missing games like on platforms. Like, all they have to do now is put Halo Spartan Strike on console, and put Halo 5 on PC. Halo 5's the only Halo game not on PC now. It's the only one. What other Halo game's not on PC?
it should come, especially because Infinite is still so integrated to Halo 5. As much as people say it isn't, it is. It's very much connected.
Mm-hmm.
So they really should be on PC or at least MCC or whatnot. But
and
I don't
Spartan
know.
Strike is the only game not on console.
Yeah. Wait, Spartan Assault came out on console? Yeah, it did.
Yes, Spartan Assault did, but Spartan Strike did not. And it's a UWP. Just right-click Save As and get it on there, man. Like, what are you waiting for? Like, get it. It's actually a good little game. Like, I was playing it on my Surface. It's a good little game. Like,
Strike was the
get
sequel,
it on
right?
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I played it on my Windows phone back when it released.
Just get it on there. Like, it's so weird. I don't know. Hopefully that will happen at some point. I did hear that I think Halo 5 will probably never come to the Master Chief Collection. God, that'd be good if they could do that.
They've already filled out the entirety of the UI memory. They have no more UI memory on Xbox One. So if they're going to keep parity with it, and that UE wrapper that runs that UI, it's like
just get rid of Xbox One. God,
Seriously.
that console is causing so many more problems than it's worth. Like, seriously, just get
They could
rid of
potentially tie it in as a purchase on like PC if you bought the Master Chief Collection, but not as a part of it, I think.
Surely they could
you don't
do
have
it.
to pay extra. But
Surely
yeah,
they could do it where the Series X and PC get Halo 5 in there, and Xbox One just can't.
Potentially, it really depends on, like, they're big into parity, and this is working the same across everything. And you buy it one place, and you get it on the PC as well. And if it's not there on that system, then people yell at them because, well, I bought it on Xbox One. How come it's only available if I want to play on PC or Series now? Type of stuff.
Yeah,
It's always a headache.
Though, honestly, Halo-wise, I mean, Halo 5 is one thing. Halo 3, it's been 15 years. We didn't really get much for it. You think we'll ever get, like, an MCC treatment or Halo 2 anniversary treatment for Halo 3? It deserves it, in my opinion, like 5 years from now or whatnot.
Maybe. Yeah. Before we go on, though, there was a super chat earlier that I completely forgot about. Super chat from my friend Sir Monte Carlo. True or not, Nick? 100%, mate. 100%. True or not? Okay. Now, what have we got? So, isn't it funny how everything leads in? So, Killer Instinct leaderboards were hacked. Overwatch 2. Do we... Like, I tried to play a couple of times, and I was in a queue of 0 people, and yet did not get in. My queue literally said 0 people in front of you, yet my game wasn't doing anything.
Which day? Because it did not work until Friday. Flat out, pretty much.
If it was the queue thing, it had to be the first night. Because
your Saturday.
The night they fixed.
No, I played before then. I didn't play yesterday.
So I could not play at all until yesterday, and then I played for about 9 hours.
Holy crap!
But how were Blizzard not prepared?
Every time. You remember Diablo 3? It was down for a full week. It happens to them every time.
Blizzard has this annoying occurrence where people DDoS the crap out of their launches. Like, I've played WoW enough. I think, like, legit every single expansion launch I was there for, they were DDoSed. And, like, only 1 or 2 I was able to still sign in and make it through. But everyone in my guild or Discord, no Discord, just an event at the time, were like, yo, I can't sign in. What's happening? And it's just like, yeah, people don't like this company for some reason. And they want to keep working, I guess. But
I just think it's crazy how... I still think it's nuts how Activision effectively forced them to put a 2 at the end.
Yeah.
It's just the original game updated.
It's not.
It's a major update for the original game.
It's 2.0.
So if they went 3 years without any updates for content, for adding new heroes, for adding actual content to the game, it was a full 3 years. So this was 3 new heroes, a bunch of new maps, new modes, and almost everyone except for a few DPS completely or partially reworked. It is an enormous update, and if you could call it like a 2.0 if it was an MMO, it's really significant, changing the meta 5v5 instead of 6v6.
I know, but it's still ultimately built off the original game. It's still ultimately an update to the original game at its core.
It's going to justify 2.0 next year when you get the PvE stuff in those seasons, I think.
But Jesse, one of the ways I've looked at it is like a WoW expansion, like 6.3 to 7.0. And I feel like it kind of works that way, you know?
Definitely.
I don't know. I found it weird. Like, I was freaked out at first because I was checking my friends list. Yeah. And I'm seeing everyone's playing Overwatch Origins editions. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Is this because no one can play 2? And it's like, no,
it's because
playing 2.
Yeah, Xbox it hasn't changed on Xbox directly, but it has changed on Discord. So if you look at someone playing it, it says Overwatch 2. But on Xbox's UI end, it just says Origins Edition still. But it took over that client, so that original client's gone.
What really cracked me up was before the release, like a few days before, there were many Twitter exchanges and there were a few videos out there saying how the game it's not good and this and blah blah blah, and there are people going like, Blizzard hasn't even advertised it, no one's going to play it, who's going to be playing Overwatch? And the game releases, no one can sign in because there's a million people trying to get on. It has 600,000 people watching it on Twitch. Like, Overwatch is Overwatch, guys. I don't get how people keep sleeping on these big things like this.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's so weird.
Gaming journalism and game coverage. I was gonna say it's a bubble. We are in this bubble, and we are actually extremely not influential to most things.
If you only ever went to Era and went to Reddit or Twitter, you wouldn't realize that League of Legends is still one of the biggest games in the world.
If your video game exposure was limited to Resetera, you would have no idea that one of the biggest games on the planet is Roblox.
Yes.
Or Valorant, and how massive Valorant is. Or like you wouldn't know.
Val is huge. Like, I didn't realize how big it got. It's and
I'm not even into those sorts of games.
It's just CSGO. Whatever. I don't.
Yeah, Valorant is huge, but according to Resetera, only Sony's exclusives are the biggest thing on earth.
It's funny. They don't realize that they themselves are a very niche audience. Yeah, you'll play COD or the popular game every once in a while, like Elden Ring, right? But the people that jumped on the Elden Ring, like it went super mainstream, they're not like the exception. You are the exception on this video game enthusiast site, right? Talking back and forth about this and that, and it's sad sometimes because people literally make their own realities, and then when it doesn't line up, they throw a fit.
Yep, Fortnite, Rocket League, all this. That's honestly, that's why they all chase the games as a service money, because that's where the money is. Like, even rightly or wrongly, good or bad, that's a separate thing. Yes. Yeah. Simple fact of the matter is that's where the money is, and that's why it gets chased, and that's why Microsoft's in a tricky position, because Microsoft has known that games as a service is where the money is for a long time. But Microsoft's in this super weird spot where they have to have a finger in a lot of pies. Yeah. So they can't abandon traditional games. They can't fully lean only into games as a service, but they also have to think of kids' games, family-friendly games. They also have to think, like, they're in a weird spot.
Thankfully, they have enough studios.
So many studios.
Exactly.
Guess that's why they're buying so many studios.
That's why Phil told us there's never too many games when John joked about it in the interview we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And by the way, for Overwatch 2, I am planning to have a review out on Monday.
Nice.
I'll play the shit out of it.
How's the cosmetic system or the progression system in Overwatch 2? Because that was a major change from the first.
Pretty generous.
Everyone wants loot boxes back.
You get a more steady. Well, because they I don't want to spend $10 again, but it's also like you didn't spend anything to get access to all this. It's now free to play. Exactly. It's going to make them way more money, and it's pretty generous. The challenge system's good. You still get experience just for playing. I think it'll be fine.
I'll be honest, right off the start, I kind of didn't mind Overwatch's loot box system at all. Like, not even a little bit. I know it became like the poster boy child for all the loot box problems. Yeah. But, like, it was just cosmetics, man. And, like, duplicates would give you money that you could buy your own stuff. Like, I only played Overwatch for maybe, like, 20, 30 hours. I didn't play much. But even then, I had a good skin on every main I played at that time.
And you can only see their arms.
Yes, yeah, that too, of course.
Rocket League still has them. The only difference with Rocket League is you can't buy loot boxes anymore in Rocket League.
Credit system?
No, they
aren't they mostly earned through challenges?
Yeah. You do challenges as part of the battle pass.
So Rocket League did transition to battle pass too, I'm guessing.
Are there Aren't they mostly blueprints too? You don't always get like direct stuff. A lot of times you get the ability to buy to make stuff. Yeah, the blueprint system's terrible.
I hate those blueprints. I haven't made a single blueprint in Rocket
It's like
League.
$20 to make the good ones. It's insane.
It's just ridiculous.
That reminds me of Warframe and their weird as hell blueprint system. I could not get into that.
I hated it.
Overwatch 2,
okay.
yeah, it's massive. It'll be massive. It'll continue to be massive. Don't sleep on a Blizzard game. Come on.
Meh, it's not for me. Now we're heading into a bit of the Sony portion of the show because a bit happened this week. So a rumor came out, and these two rumors are kind of intrinsically linked to each other. So let's just cover the whole thing in one go. So the first part, I can't remember which part came first, the chicken or the egg. So there was a list. There was a list of games. And I don't care how I'm going to sound right now, but I've had this list of games myself for quite a while. And at the time that I got this list, didn't look too deeply into it because I was told not to say anything about the list. So I just sort of had a quick glance and thought nothing of it. Saw a bunch of stuff on there that I had already known about, like the Horizon VR thing and all that sort of stuff. Didn't even notice that there was a Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster on that list. Didn't even, because I was told I couldn't say anything about the list, I never bothered to have a deep look at it. But then we got the state of play, and Ronin was announced. And I went back and had a look at the list, and I'm like, wait, Koei Tecmo Ronin, Rise of Ronin just got announced. Hold on a second, this list is real. I probably should have had a deeper look at this list because it's actually legit. And on this list was the Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster make. I still don't, to this day, I still don't actually
Horizon
no. So I think yes, there's someone in chat, just the casual, saying Horizon Remaster leak came before the list. Yeah, I think it did. But
the leak came and people like it came from a list, and then people
Horizon. Yeah, so this list must have spread. A lot of people must have got a hold of this list, which tends to happen with this sort of stuff. Like, I mean, I've built up trust with all my sources because when they tell me don't say anything or don't leak anything, I don't. So when I was told not to say anything or do anything about this list, I didn't. I can't even remember when I got it. I'd have to check the DM. But obviously someone else got this list that was trusted, that couldn't be trusted, and it got around to a whole bunch of people. And so all of a sudden it came out that there's a rumor that Horizon Zero Dawn is getting again, still don't know what this is. Is it a remaster?
It should be a remaster. I think. It's not a remake. No way.
But what's so weird about this is Horizon Zero Dawn already got updated for the PS5. Yeah. And it looks and runs fantastically. I jumped back into it yesterday. So, tangent story that kind of relates. So, I took the plunge. I've been umming and ahhing about changing my PSN ID for a long time. I've been umming and ahhing about it, but I kept reading horror stories about it, about stuff breaking. So I was very, very hesitant. And then the other day, believe it or not, Street Fighter 6 made me take the plunge. So I changed my Capcom ID, changed my Fighter ID on Street Fighter 5, and decided to just take the plunge, changed my PSN name to Special Nick, and nothing broke.
Nice.
Believe it or not, nothing broke. I checked my PS3, the name came across, played a couple of my games, save files worked, jumped onto my Vita, name change came across, played my 9-year-old Uncharted Golden Abyss save file, and it worked just fine.
The Vita game?
Yep. Yep, I still have a 3G OLED Vita.
Damn, okay.
Play that, it all worked just fine. So I played Horizon Zero Dawn as well to test that save file. And man, that is so smooth on PS5 and looks amazing. And I'm just like, why are you doing this? Why?
I think I have a reason.
No,
And
don't
it's
say the TV show.
It's
Don't say the
100%.
TV show.
It's the same thing with The Last of Us coming to PC next year with the TV show. They are remaking it to be able to sell it for more money again alongside the TV show.
I blame The Witcher. Did you see The Witcher game sales spike when that show came out? Wouldn't be surprised if they're banking on something similar.
Cyberpunk with its cartoon.
Yep, the anime, but yep. But okay, what really grinds my gears is that we don't know how they're going to price it. A remaster should, by all purposes, be like $20-$30 or like $30-$40 at most, you know?
I'm hoping it's like the Uncharted 4 one.
The PC port?
No. You know how Uncharted or the Uncharted Lost Legacy collection, it was like $10 to upgrade it? I'm hoping it's like that. That is
somehow I doubt it. I really do.
If they do it like that, if they do it like Uncharted Lost Legacy, I'll do it. I'm happy to do it.
No, but the upgrade's one thing, right? What about the actual game itself? Are they going to delist the previous one? Because right now you can buy Horizon. I bought Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition for like 15 Canadian. Like nothing.
Yeah, I've got it as well.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. So like, are they going to delist that when this remaster comes out so they can charge the game itself at full price again? Because hey, it's a new release.
The problem is you can't put it past Sony to do that.
Yep. And we've had examples of literally Nintendo doing just that. They released a port of Donkey Kong Country. They remove it from the Wii U because it's on $10 there, and then they release the port for the Switch. Like it's there's a precedent, right?
And the problem is that, like Nintendo, Sony's fans will just, I mean, Nintendo fans won't defend it; they'll just put up with it.
Yes. Yeah.
Sony fans will also defend it.
Yep. Yeah, Bridge just
There's
said
exceptions
yes.
to the rule. Don't get me wrong. Like I was surprised. I saw some exceptions on Twitter from PlayStation fans who were like, "What the hell? Why is Horizon Zero Dawn being?"
At the same time, I saw just as many people saying, "Stop complaining about remasters. Look at Dead Space remaster." But you guys are complaining about our remasters.
I know they were like we were talking about earlier. Like there was someone comparing Horizon Zero Dawn. Or they weren't directly comparing Horizon Zero Dawn. They were just. It was under the umbrella of Sony Remake. But let's be honest, the discussion point has come up because of Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Horizon Zero Dawn's 5 years old. I mean, not that that's as egregious as Last of Us Remastered, which was 1 year later, but in a weird, twisted way, Last of Us Remastered made sense because Last of Us came out 5 months before the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
So that being remastered a year later in a weird, twisted, trying to defend Sony way, it kind of makes sense in a strange way. But
it's just
Horizon Zero Dawn. What if Horizon Zero Dawn never got the PS5 update that it got? This would feel less egregious.
Yes. Yeah,
this would feel far less egregious.
If this was Bloodborne getting a remaster, I'd be happy because I know that it would never got the update, would never have gotten the update. And to this day, the game is still kind of unplayable, even on the PS5. It's like...
The issue with The Last of Us was they had no back compat. So if you wanted to play it, there was no way you had to have it.
And that's the other thing. There was no back compat as well. So, and that's what I mean. Like Last of Us, you can find, if you want to, you can, like, on face value... The game comes out and gets remastered a year later. Gross. But that's just on face value. Like Jesse said, no back compat with PS3. The PS4 came out 5 months later. You can kind of understand.
We're living in a world now where next-gen patches are a thing, right? People don't keep reselling their games anymore. Right, a patch isn't a new game. It's
but they're good. Next-gen patches are great.
I'm saying that's good, exactly. Like we're living in those days now. So a remaster like this is really egregious because it's like, dude, like I can play the game. It's already enhanced playing on the PS5
at 60, and it looks amazing.
God,
it looks amazing.
So and I honestly don't care how much better it's gonna look if it does look better.
It's not gonna look that much better. That's why I'm hoping like. So I look at Uncharted Lost Legacy, that collection, and Uncharted 4, and I think Horizon. I'm giving Sony the benefit of the doubt here against my better judgment, and I'm gonna guess that Horizon Zero Dawn is probably gonna be that Lost Legacy collection $10 upgrade path. because Uncharted 4 on PS5 doesn't look hugely better than the PS4 one.
Yeah,
60 looks a bit cleaner. It's not. It's almost the equivalent of the update Horizon Zero Dawn already just got for free. So
at the same time, though, if the cost is that they delist the older version, that's still pretty scummy, in my opinion. Like, not everyone already owns the game.
Do that.
You know? Well, according to Brit,
but they
can't
delist the old ones. They can't because the PS4 still exists.
Yeah, that's
true. Didn't they delist the original Ghost of Tsushima?
Oh, they might
Pretty
have.
sure they've been delisting things. Yeah.
Oh, they might have. Yeah.
Really?
Huh. I'm not sure actually.
But when I go to the store, it still shows Ghost of Tsushima PS4.
That version has two versions. I'm not sure actually.
Is that like a cross-gen bundle type thing, kind of like COD?
I think so.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I've got access to Ghost of Tsushima through my console sharing, so I don't have to buy it. my little cousin. I mean, I call him. I saw someone on Twitter saying little cousin. How old is he? I'm like, he's 27. But
what?
I call him my little cousin because I helped raise him. I've been with him since he was a baby. So I always just call him my little cousin. He's like nearly 30, but like I call him my little cousin.
You know what?
And what?
Sorry, I think Jesse's right. I went to go stream his website and I see PS4, PS5 only for the director's cut.
Yeah, wow, you only get the director's cut, which is $60 default and 70 for PS5 version.
90 Canadian. Okay. Woohoo!
I already have access to it through console sharing. Like I said,
and I think the same thing happened with Uncharted. It just became the Lost Legacy collection.
Really?
That's messed up. I bought Uncharted for like $15, dude.
Yeah, that feels a little bit. So what they'll probably do is they'll put Complete Edition on sale, and I reckon they'll do the $10 upgrade path, and they'll probably just do it like they've done all these other ones. I'm assuming. Yeah. If it's the $10 upgrade path, like Uncharted 4 Lost Legacy Collection, I'll just do it. I'll pay the $10-15 and I'll just do it because I'll get double the trophies as well. So what happens is, and Spider-Man Remastered, same thing. So what happens is you boot up the new upgraded version and all your trophies just start unlocking all over again. So, and I've got the platinum for Horizon Zero Dawn, so I'll take the
looking on their website, Uncharted 4, you only get access to it by subscribing to PlayStation.
Yeah,
Plus.
dude, I was about to say that.
To buy.
We're already getting dooming of games only being available on subscriptions. Really? That is literally an example of a game.
But yeah, if you want to buy Uncharted 4, you have to buy it as the $50 package.
Yep,
$65 Lost Legacy.
That's messed up.
That's really
and it wasn't even that long, and people already forget. They've been doing it for a while.
Dude.
But then hold on. But then Microsoft did something similar with Halo, didn't they?
With MCC?
Well, you can't buy those individual 360 Halo games anymore, can you?
They're delisted from the store?
I thought they were delisted. I know they went offline. I know their online went offline, but didn't they also get delisted, or am I wrong on that one? I don't
Halo 1 and Halo 2 never came to back compat like they were supposed to. That's the thing I remember.
Yeah, I know, even though they promised us they would.
I mean, I see the store page for Halo 3.
Yeah, you can buy 3 and Reach and ODST.
Yeah, you can buy
and 4.
Yeah, should be able to, I think.
Okay. For some reason, I thought they were delisted. Well, there you go.
That's messed up, honestly. That is.
Yeah. But yeah, there's that. I mean, I don't know if any of you have looked at that leaked list. A lot of code names on there.
Yeah.
A lot of code names.
360 versions might be delisted. I think you're right. I don't see that you can buy Halo 4. 360.
That's what I mean.
But you can buy them individually. Yeah, you can buy them individually for the Master Chief Collection.
For the Master Chief Collection, yes.
Yeah, they might have done that when they took the servers down. For
those original BC versions, you can't buy anymore. So that's a similar thing. Not exactly.
I mean, Halo 3 still has a page up.
Yeah, they have pages in there. I think they're in Game Pass, but they're not available for purchase.
You can't actually buy them.
I can buy the Mythic map packs.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That's so weird.
But yeah,
really quick, the interview, was that this week too?
What interview?
With Herman Hulst? Herman Hulst.
I think it was. And didn't he talk about what was he talking about?
He's easing them into day and date on PC.
Yeah. He was reiterating about the day and date thing.
But they gave
we're not
a time
doing
frame
it right now.
He gave a time frame of it'll be for our GAS, for our games of service, it'll launch on PC at launch. For our other ones, 1 year. He gave the year time frame.
I think that's what I had predicted, that it'd probably go a year. Because 6 months, 3 months or 6 months was too close where people will just wait. Where I feel like a year, and I've said this before, I feel like a year is that point where people are going to be too impatient. They'll be like, nah, bugger it, I'll just buy it. I'm not going to wait the year. And then they get the extra money when people double dip.
And there was one other thing, which was, and we'll still look at putting games on PlayStation 4 on a case-by-case basis.
Oh, really?
Yes, more PS4 games coming from Sony.
Yep. So we had another spurt of "We Believe in Generations" memes going.
Wow. That's
and it's funny because what everything announced for Xbox next year has been announced as series only with Starfield and Redfall. And Forza.
That's it. Xbox One is over. It's done.
Their smaller stuff, I bet you, like their little the smaller things that aren't going to be held back might still, like the side scroller from Stoic and some of that stuff, they probably could. But I do think any of their big first party that is really pushing
Fable,
the major stuff,
Avowed,
100% series only.
Yeah. Forza, all that sort of stuff.
What was funny was I was arguing with some PlayStation fans a bit, where I'm like, the year's not good enough. Like, it really should be day and day. This makes no sense. And I got a response from someone who was like, no, a year's good. So the game will release. I'll play it a couple times, and then I'll wait a year, and I'll buy it on PC, and I'll play it again a couple times. And I'm like, dude, what? How do you have the time? I guess you know what it is. The only thing you ever play are the first party games of your plastic box of choice. Then this is what you do, right? You keep replaying the same games again and again and again, and rebuying them, and it's sad a little, like there's so many good games out there. Why are you spending your time doing this?
Yeah, like people that say this year's been slow, and this year's actually been pretty crazy for awesome game releases.
So that tells me then, if Sony's saying a year between console and PC release, that tells me that they're probably not doing their launcher anytime too soon. Only because I had been told that with the launcher, they're planning on implementing cross-buy.
Really?
So,
that'd be nice.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can still do a year apart with cross-buy, can't you?
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Technically, like, it would trigger a thing on the back end saying, well, this person's bought it on console.
Yeah.
When we release on PC, they already own it.
Like, they added in the ability to sign into Spider-Man. So you can sign into your Sony account on Spider-Man now. So they're getting those back-end systems working.
They're taking these baby steps,
so they probably will still do the cross-buy, but you'll still probably have to wait.
You know what I don't trust? They're so bad about it. I don't trust them to get cross-save to work well.
Yeah, that's the thing. They can't save so much more important.
And they can't get it to work on their own platform.
Yeah, I know. Cross-save's so much more important.
Well, I would say cross-buy is still the most important. So you can at least play it on the platform.
Cross-buy without cross-save is incredibly annoying.
That's what I mean.
If you have to restart...
Like, if I know... Like, I've said it before with third-party games. I'm like, cross-progression in third-party games would make me more inclined to double and triple dip on a game. So, I got Rocket League for free on PlayStation 4, because it was launched on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
I bought it on Xbox because it had cross progression and everything. Then I bought it again on Switch because of that cross progression. I'm like, well, all my stuff's going to carry across. I may as well buy it on all of them. So no matter where I am, I can play it. But remove the cross progression. Do I bother buying it on Xbox and Switch? I probably wouldn't have.
The lack of progression has actually really hurt on PC Game Pass, where you get EA and Ubisoft PC versions from their launchers that are not cross progression. So I just really haven't ended up using them that much. Yeah, because it ties into Origin and it ties into EA app. That's the name of their new app. It's brilliant, and it ties into the Ubisoft one. So you get the game on their launcher. You don't get a native Windows version.
Even the Ubisoft games.
This is where Xbox doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah,
for just how this all works. All this play anywhere and your save just
seamless.
Like they've even got their saves working on cloud. Like it's just the way it all does it. It's just unbelievable.
I was at a hotel a week ago. I played a game on my phone through Game Pass. I came back home, it synced it, exact same spot.
And it was just there. It's so good. We just take it for granted. We just take it for granted how well that all works and how seamless it all is. Like, the next step for them, if they want to challenge themselves, the next step, I know it's going to be basically borderline impossible, but maybe the cloud makes it possible, is you start a game on your Series X, you put it in quick resume, and then the cloud picks up the quick resume.
It is a massive upload. You're uploading like 8 to 12, however big the memory.
That's why I said I'm sure it's probably impossible. That's why I said if they want to challenge
it wouldn't be.
themselves.
I actually don't think it would be that hard. It's just entirely dependent on the upload speed of the person playing.
They would,
because you got to upload like 8 to you got to upload 8 to 12 gigs of the memory footprint that it saves on the SSD, and that can take a while.
Each game?
Okay.
That's what Quick Resume is. Quick Resume is with their hypervisor layer. It has the actual memory that's being used by the game, and it copies it to the SSD, which is unbelievably fast, by the way, if you ever copy something from the expansion card.
It's not as fast as the PS5 SSD, though.
No, true.
It's not that fast.
It's not magic, but yeah, it's
not, God.
That's why it lasts throughout losing power, is because it's on your it's on the solid state drive.
Yeah, I know.
It actually takes your action, and it's always there. Yeah,
that'd be a cool GPU perk, or if they ever have a tier above it, something like that. That'd be interesting.
I'm just saying, maybe it's a nice challenge for their team, like just to experiment with it and see if they can get it to work. But here's the thing: there's a lot of stuff, and again, I'm not going to say what I've been told, but there's stuff I've been told that these Xbox teams and certain people's teams work on behind the scenes that they just muck around with, just to see what they can get to work. Yeah. Some of it ends up coming to us, some of it doesn't. And I'm just saying that I would love for them to see if they can challenge themselves to find a way to get a quick resume state to then work on the cloud. I just think that would be a cool thing if it were possible.
Yeah,
I think
it's entirely about bandwidth and memory capacity. Like, how long is it going to take to upload when it's in there, and how long does it take to download when you're done?
Tech companies are going to drag America kicking and screaming into better internet at one point, man. Hopefully, I swear.
Hope so. It's nuts though how we had a power outage the other night, and again, turned on the Series X. Quick resumes were still just there.
Ridiculous.
My PS5, my PS5 put up a message that it wanted to sue me. It was my PS5 was putting up a class action lawsuit to sue me for the power going out. It's like it's nuts how fussy that console is. I'm just waiting for it to break one day. I'm just waiting for my PS5 to cop a power outage, and it just breaks.
This is a console that needs a stand, be it vertical.
I know,
or
to lie down.
Come on,
to lie down.
How did that get past the designing floor? I have no idea. God, it's just...
Again, I already explained my theory on that. It's because it looks like it's floating, and they wanted it to look like it's floating even when it's lying down. Well, not my theory. It was Nick's theory on Twitter. And then when I looked at mine, I realized that, it's right. It looks like it's floating, and that's probably what they wanted it to do.
It also looks like it has a tumor with the disk drive. But
look, it's annoying. When I clean it and all that sort of stuff, it's very, very annoying. But that's a story for another time. Yeah, but
they have these teams, right? Every tech company has these teams where they just work on really experimental crap. Remember Illumi Room a little while back?
Yes.
God.
Yep, that was cool too.
That's actually
this tangent that we're on all came from Horizon Zero Dawn being remastered.
Oh my god, you're right. Oh my god. But yeah, 1 year.
We have ended up talking about Microsoft's quick resume up in the cloud and all that, all from Horizon Zero Dawn being remade, which is crazy.
What's it called? I don't think Sony realized. How do I phrase this? Microsoft pulled the bandage, right? When they said, "Hey, all these releases are coming to PC." I think that was 2016,
they just
17 or something.
But they were in a different position. They were in a different position to be able to do it.
But dude, even myself back then, I didn't like that decision, man. I was like,
really?
What the heck? Why'd I buy it?
I
was still younger. I was still in a little bit more of the console.
I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I'm like, what? You're gonna give me 2 copies for the price of one? I'm like,
that's true. Buy everywhere was nice.
Cool, but Microsoft. I don't know.
You know what
I
it
find
was?
a bit
So
weird.
Yeah.
the thing Sony's done is they have spent a very long time pumping up their hardware as better than it is, and that it's this bespoke software made for this bespoke hardware, and it just isn't going to work other places. And then you
Oh, I
see
see
it
what you
works
mean.
fine anywhere. So
the
they've
myth
really
is true.
conditioned their fans that these things can only be the best if they're only on this platform.
Yeah, but you know what game I reckon they probably won't put on PC?
Ratchet and Clank.
I don't know that. I'm just saying I've got a funny because of the way they hyped up the SSD and the SSD. Like, this game is only possible on PlayStation.
And Psychonauts had better portals.
Like, it's only possible with the power of the PlayStation 5's SSD. If that game releases on PC,
it's fun when it bugs out, and the portals are, you just see that it's actually just a different part of the level that you're being moved down to, and it's not actually.
Oh yeah,
loading
like you
anything.
can see what the trick is, and there was that dude that demonstrated it on a PC in Unreal Engine. It wasn't exactly the same, but very, very close. And it was just one dude doing it. Like, everyone knows that Ratchet and Clank can be done. Probably could have been done on PS4. But if they do it on PC, it's such a PR black eye because of the way they talked about it at the time.
Yeah.
So I feel like Ratchet and Clank will be held back. Yeah, that's just my hunch. I have no idea if that's true.
We've been told again and again that games make their most money when launch, right? When they first release, they make a lot of money. Yeah, sure. You release, say, Ragnarok a year from release on PC. It's gonna do well there, right? It's not gonna do as well there as it would have done if it released on PC this November, right? Like, it's just
no, it won't.
They're leaving money on the floor, and why? To appease their rabid fan base? It's just. I don't get it, man.
But it is. Like, this is why I've been saying for so long that Jim's in a tricky position.
Yeah.
They've been cultivating this fan base for so long that they can't just up and abandon it.
Yeah.
Just
like he's making the right moves. He's just really kind of dumb and speaking about it, to be honest.
They have to do this. They are going to pivot to everything Microsoft's doing. Make no mistake.
Yep.
They will pivot to everything Microsoft is doing, one-to-one. But they're going to do it so gradually. Like, Microsoft did it, bang. It was almost overnight. It was almost overnight. Sony will do it very, very gradually over many, many years. Because they have this fan base that won't allow them. Like, they're going to fight them. Every step of the way.
And this is the fan base that has for years has countered everything when they're speaking to an Xbox fan by saying, "Oh, you don't have any real exclusives. You don't have any real exclusives left.
Because
that's not a thing." Yeah, what are they gonna do now? Grow up? I highly doubt it.
Well, there you go. No, only Nintendo has exclusives now.
I was speaking with someone, and they're like, "Oh, it's because they don't have the manpower to port it." So I'm like, "Okay, so how are their games as a service games releasing day one if they don't have the manpower to support PC ports? Come on, it's not the PS3 era."
This is what I'm saying. It's all. This is the road. That's why I'm not envious of Jim, because he. Yes. Don't worry, Jim Ryan's a businessman first and foremost, and he wants that money, and he's probably pissed off that he. I wouldn't be surprised if he's very frustrated that he can't just go PC day and date, because the modding community is loving. PlayStation's games. I see so many hilarious mods on Twitter. I've seen Master Chief fighting Kratos. I've seen The Simpsons. I've seen in Spider-Man. There was all these funny Spider-Man ones.
Yeah,
Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, the modding community is loving them, and that's all money. I'm sure Jim wants day one because he knows that those PC players will buy those games in droves day one.
And PC players do buy things, man. They don't all just pirate things. You know what I mean? They'll buy games.
No, they will.
It feels like it's a self-made problem. I'm not going to blame Jim for it because I don't think
it's self-inflicted. It's a self-inflicted wound, 100%. 100% it is. It's the same with the day and date thing. Yeah. Like, imagine how many 100%. More subscribers. Imagine how many more subscribers to Plus they'd get if they just pop those games. Like, put it this way, right? So I'm subscribed to PlayStation Plus, the base level. Just the base level of Plus. Right now, I'm not buying God of War because I'm console sharing. I'm not buying Last of Us Part 1 Remake because I'm console sharing. But guess what? If those games were on
Plus.
PlayStation Plus, I'd up my tier. So that's extra money they get from me every single month.
Yes, honestly.
That they're not getting right now.
I have like 16 months left of the highest tier. Though, to be honest, their service is still lacking. It really is right now.
Apparently the highest tier is like the biggest waste of money ever from what I keep seeing from people.
It's you realize
apparently that middle tier is the sweet spot.
Yeah, I mean that's a Game Pass, right? Do you see how they separate their classics and their PS5 games? They consider PS4 games classics. It's the weirdest. I don't understand how people like this UI at times because it's so unintuitive. Oh God, I've
just got the base one, so I don't know. I still have the base one. So
I mean, the base one is just gold, right? Technically, it's still the same thing. They didn't really change it much.
Yeah. I didn't up it because for me, it's not worth upping it. Like I've still got a PS3, which has all my PS2 digital games and plays all my PS1 games. I don't know. I'm not watching the stream anymore. So
it's Kratos beating the crap out of Master Chief because they made Baldur. They made Baldur into Master Chief instead.
Yeah. It's so cool. It's so cool.
That's actually super cool. But God, it's you know what it is though. When Game Pass first released in 2017, I think, I didn't care for it. Right at that point, I already owned all the Xbox games on there, really, and the other games I'm like, it's not a big deal. Eventually, the service got a lot better. Obviously, the main thing was day and date, right? So I'll give PS Plus another couple of years. You know, hopefully it gets better.
They'll get there. They'll put their games day and date. Everyone knows it. They will.
100%. But if the entire TGA goes and not a single game has the PS Plus logo at the end, I'm gonna be disappointed. I'll be honest. Like, what are you doing at that point? You have to be competing, and you're not competing, and you're still doing money hats because there's rumors out there that the next Crash is gonna be a money hatted game. Like, come on.
Really?
Yep. I think just today or yesterday those rumors came out because we know we're seeing it at TGA, and people are saying, it's. I think Jez is saying it's a money hat. It's exclusive, times exclusive.
You're kidding me. Well, I mean, I guess that leads us into the next topic. So we haven't even gotten to like arguably the biggest topic of the whole thing.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah. So speaking of money hats of Crash, which is an ABK game, so Microsoft set up that site just out of nowhere. They set up that site which it was almost like a friendly chart, just laying out their plan for ABK and what they're going to do with ABK, which I have to admit I found a little bit odd. Like at first I'm like, who is this for? Like, who is this thing for? Like, because my assumption was that it was for
the regulators.
No, for just because I thought the regulators, they're talking to regulators already, aren't they?
Yeah.
Aren't they already dealing with regulators? So I don't know, unless it's for like.
It's probably for like their own board, maybe, or like their own kind of like.
I don't know. Vision. Maybe it's for just uneducated committee members who just don't understand all this stuff, and they're laying it out. Because to me, there's no point in it for the public. Yeah. Is there? Like,
maybe like the public that's rich enough to consider buying Microsoft stock. I could see this being focused towards them a little bit. Like, hey, we're making this big
ABK
acquisition.
Stock.
Sorry, my bad. ABK stock. Hey, we're making this big. Yeah, both, I guess. We're making this big acquisition. This is our plan. This is why we're spending this money. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
But they do that in like an investor meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like just this very nice, hey, this is, I mean, obviously there's a little bit of spin to it. There has to be. They don't.
And sorry, just to really clarify, Jez didn't say for sure that the game was exclusive. He said that it was being tested a lot on PlayStation, which is why he thinks it might be, or there's a chance it could be. Thank you, Alvin, in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, stuff like that changes all the time, and deals go through. I mean, look, I had heard that the new BioShock was going to be money-headed. I don't know if that's still the case anymore. I don't think it is.
The damn game's still not here yet. Wasn't it supposed to come?
That's what I'm saying. And that's look at Starfield. Yeah. There was talk about it came out that Starfield they were looking to money hat, and that's what I mean. Like that stuff. But I mean, stuff changes like the wind. Be
surprising per se. Yes, Crash 4 wasn't money-hatted, but the trilogy was, right? So I mean, it could go either way.
God, that would be such another weird situation like we had with Deathloop.
It would be
Ghostwire,
tradition though,
like,
right? At that point, it follows.
I don't know. I feel like at that point you just pay the money and break the deal.
Seriously, right?
But you just pay the money and break the deal.
I mean, they're not stopping though, right? They can't do anything that's going to put them on the radar for regulators.
Not right now. No, that's right.
Yeah,
and this
it's
deal's,
not over.
I mean, mine.
No, not even
John
this deal.
I's...
I mean, for the coming deals, they can't. They got to play nice for the next who knows how long because they're not stopping, right? We know that.
Yeah, I know. But more. I mean, Brazil now approved the deal.
The main thing.
Yes, Brazil. So that's 2 countries now. Yeah, is that right? 2 regions / countries that have now approved the Saudi Arabia and Brazil. And a lot of the details about the Brazil findings came out, which I thought were fascinating. How logical and how forthright they were, and everything laid out by the Brazilian regulators. My God, it makes the CMA look like an absolute bunch of fools. Like,
oh God,
the CMA were literally crying for Sony's market position, where the Brazilian regulators are like, it's not our job to care about Sony's market position. It's our job to worry about consumers and our consumers in our region. And we're not seeing the issue. And it's funny, when I was reading through all of it, and you all know I'm not much of a reader, but I did my best to read through some of this stuff. Mm-hmm. The one point that the Brazilian regulators brought up that I found really interesting, and I don't think anyone has brought it up before or thought of it, at least not in the discussions I've seen, they were talking about the PC market.
Yes.
And they showed more concern in the PC space because they were like, well, Microsoft has a stranglehold on the personal computer market. So ABK poses a bit of an issue there. But then once again, being logical, they were like, but then we looked more into it. And the gaming situation on Mac is already laughable. And Linux PCs are even more laughable when it comes to gaming. So really, it would just be the status quo.
Exactly.
In the PC space.
To be honest, it might even help out the other operating systems with this deal. You know what I mean? Who knows?
Well, yeah, Microsoft might be more inclined to try and push back onto them. Like, why wouldn't Microsoft want to get all the CODs on Mac? Like, Call of Duty 4 is on Mac, and it's still like $100, I think, last time I checked. They might be more inclined to go, well, why wouldn't we make money on a Mac? Let's get Call of Duty on Mac. Why not?
That's probably like the strictest they get with Microsoft, and the entire document was like, hey, they have a stranglehold. They have a dominant position in the PC market. We all know this, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It doesn't make a difference. ABK games.
They said it would actually be status quo. They said it would just be status quo because already it's not happening as it is. And they talked about, like, it was funny. It's something we've all been saying, so it was funny to see the regulators saying it. They were like, well, hold on a second. Nintendo doesn't have any Call of Duty games.
Yep.
They seem to be doing real well without them. So we
really
think Sony should be fine without Call of Duty games. Like, it's all just stuff we've all been saying. So it was just interesting to see them say it and lay it out so logically. They're like, well, it's, you know. They talk about their exclusives.
Yeah, they talked about how Call of Duty, it's a big game, but hey, it's not this giant thing that no one can ever compete with. They even gave like temporary numbers, like 0 to 10 or 10 to 20, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They systematically broke down every CMA, every forum argument I've seen online with logic and facts, but with data. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they broke it all down and said, well, you know, in these sales charts they accounted for 20%, in these sales charts they accounted for they really went to
look
town
at this
on it.
Line they have. In light of the elements available in the records, there is no evidence that the Activision Blizzard games actually represent an indispensable asset for Sony's competitive performance in the digital distribution market. Like anyone who bought that line from Sony was just drinking the Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah. They said, they admitted, they were like, yeah, it's going to hurt Sony's bottom line a bit.
Yeah.
But bad luck.
They can still compete. Exactly.
That's competition. Bad luck. Like,
you know, they had this really cool line. I'm going to see if I can find it. Yeah. So about new markets. Are we just jumping around the document, or do you want to go more structured?
Whatever. I don't care.
So there's this. I'm just looking at the stuff that kind of stuck out to me, but they had this line here, which is so interesting, where they're like, "It's recognized that regardless of the company size," which I think is something people don't understand. Just because you're $1 trillion company doesn't mean you can spend $1 trillion trying to get into a market, right? How many stuff has Microsoft tried to get into and couldn't? Sony,
Correct.
Google literally just dropped Stadia like 2 weeks ago.
Well, that was Microsoft's fault.
Yeah, it was. Damn, these guys killing everybody.
That was Microsoft's fault. Yeah.
But it's saying, regardless of size of company, entering new markets is usually permeated by many obstacles. Nevertheless, a challenge is imposed on the entry of new markets. So talking about the, I think, subscription and entering to it. In essence, do not seem very different from those faced by Microsoft when it first launched the Xbox in 2001. Because even back then, Nintendo and Sony had a dominant position in the market.
Yeah.
So why the heck are people thinking that no one can launch a console or enter this market with a subservice anymore?
That's right. Entering with the subservice is a lot cheaper than launching a piece of hardware.
Yep. And even the Xbox when it launched, that was a massive risk. If Halo wasn't Halo, right? Like, what happens with that launch?
People are forgetting Microsoft bled billions and billions of dollars to get Xbox even to have a foot in the door. And that's all they had, a foot in the door. Like, they launched against the PS2, which went on to sell 150 million consoles. Microsoft sold 25 million consoles. Like, they bled $4, $5, $6 billion just to get their foot in the door, just to get their big toe in the door. Google wasn't willing to do that with Stadia. Google just wasn't willing to. They didn't want to make that investment. As we saw, now I don't know how real this stuff was on Reddit, but apparently these Google staffers who wanted to be anonymous, they jumped onto Reddit and they were like, this is Google. Google, if you want to get promoted in Google, you just have to launch something.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it fails. It doesn't matter if you don't support it. It doesn't matter if you don't maintain it. As long as you launch something, you get promoted in Google. But you don't get promoted in Google if you just fix stuff and make stuff work properly. You only get promoted if you launch. That's why Stadia happened. And that's why now it's gone. Because Google was probably never really truly interested in really making Stadia work as a commercial front-facing product.
There's a website called killedbygoogle.com. That's how much stuff they killed. God.
So that's why the whole argument of Stadia being like, oh, well, because Microsoft's buying all this stuff, we can't compete. It's like, calm down, guys. You're just as rich as Microsoft. You were never interested in spending that kind of money in gaming. And most smart people know that. Stadia being gone has nothing to do with Microsoft buying Bethesda or Activision.
Seriously.
Google were never interested. That's the long and the short of it. Stadia will probably live on as a back-end, end-to-end thing, maybe for some other smaller publishers or devs to launch streaming services or whatever. Because apparently, again, I wouldn't know because it never launched in Australia, but apparently Stadia's tech is quite good.
Their connection with the controller was really smart how they did it. The controller doesn't connect to your TV, connects to the Wi-Fi directly, and it felt amazing. Like, I was playing Destiny 2 multiplayer like perfectly fine. Admittingly, it's not the most balanced or the game where I can like be super sweaty in, but still,
the tech is very good, but it's tied to having to make bespoke versions of each game, which just killed it.
Like Linux versions. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Well, that was the other problem. Like, it was just mistake after mistake, and they just weren't willing to invest. But back to the Brazilian thing, it was good that they. Like, it's funny now. Like, I'm interested to see the impact this has on the others going forward, because the Brazil regulators broke it down in such a thorough and logical way. A lot of the other regulators now would want to be careful how they come out. Like, the CMA's statements retroactively. Now that we've seen the Brazilian regulators, the CMA statements look even worse now.
Yes.
Like, even back then, people were laughing at the CMA because they looked like they were crying protecting Sony's market position. Now that looks even worse.
The CMA's document, I went through the whole thing because I was talking with someone and they were like, no, you didn't read it. You don't know it. I went through the whole thing. People claimed that it wasn't really about Sony, right? Like, no, they're only there for a couple of paragraphs or whatever. Half the document was them explaining their terms. Half of the second half was Sony. Half the second half was cloud. That's only the two things they talked about. It was 100% about Sony in that document.
It was. They were just protecting Sony's interests, and it was embarrassing. Like, why does the CMA care about Sony's market position? I still to this day don't understand why the CMA has such a vested interest in Sony's market position.
There's a line here where it's like, and this is actually super important to you, I want to say in your theory with exclusivity, where it's like, it's likely that the eventual conclusion of the transaction does give Microsoft a considerable competitive advantage in the segment, and this is assuming they make it exclusive. Because
of course it does.
Cade went through the entire thing, right? Of like, hey, what if they do make it exclusive? They're like, yeah, we know they said they aren't, but what if they do, right? Or after they do. And they're like, even so, the SG/Cade does not see that such an advantage represents a risk of closing this market for current competitors.
That's right.
Of course not. Like,
of course it wouldn't. The worst, the absolute worst, and I'm trying to be as realistic as possible here. I'm going to go from Sony's perspective now, and I'm going to try and keep it as realistic as possible. The worst case scenario is that Sony is no longer the market leader between Microsoft and Sony, and it's by a bit. Yep. So with the PS4 generation, we had, because let's be honest, let's look at the only metric Sony and their fans seem to care about, console sales.
Yeah.
So the PS4 was 120, rounding up. Xbox One, about 55. Let's just say. Not the 35 that everyone was parroting for the entire generation. 55.
Yes.
It's not like Microsoft making COD exclusive would flip that.
Yep.
There's no universe where COD being exclusive would suddenly flip that number. So your worst case scenario would be a generation where maybe Microsoft does 110 and Sony does 100 or 90.
Yep.
That's your worst, and I'm saying that's the worst case scenario. Okay, big deal. Who cares?
It's just
big deal. This is what I'm saying. This is why I don't understand why the CMA cares so much about their market position. I don't get it.
We talked about status quo, and this document literally mentions how in every single console generation Xbox has been in, Sony has been market leader. Every single one. Well, eventually, let's say it. Though I'm still not sold that 360 sold less than the PS3. I don't think it did, but you know what I mean.
Well, I think if you take it from when the generation actually ended in 2013, I think the 360 was ahead. If that's the finish line, if the finish line is when a generation starts, then I think the 360 was just ahead of the PS3. But the PS3, because Sony has historically sold their consoles for much longer and supported their consoles for much longer. Remember, that was also, they had this sudden resurgence because of Last of Us being a smash hit and all that sort of stuff. So I think if the finish line is PS4's release day and Xbox One's release day, then the 360 was ahead at that time. But the PS3 then went past it post
time. Post, I remember reading their thread with Zhuge, and he's talking about so they stopped reporting 360 numbers. It doesn't mean they stopped selling.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You were talking about the other regulators, and they have a line in here too, where they talk something called the HHI. I don't know what the hell that is. Some kind of index they're using to determine whether it's a vertical or horizontal merger, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And they're indicating that the transaction in question would not, by itself, imply a significant increase in the level of concentration of the game publishing market, whether worldwide or nationally. I feel like people might dismiss the document because, hey, it's Brazilian. And in this document, they mention, they're like, hey...
Oh, yeah, Brazil's corrupt. Remember, Brazil's super corrupt, and Microsoft paid them off to tick off on the... Oh, yeah. I mean, the CMA was openly protecting Sony, but the Brazilian government is like totally corrupt, and Microsoft paid them off. Yeah, right. Okay.
But it's like in the document they mention how yes, in Brazil, Call of Duty is not a popular game. Like it's never really in the top list. Blah blah blah. But it mentions yes, in America, whatnot it is. But even then, even considering its popularity, its worldwide sales percentages and revenues are not high enough for this to be considered anti-competitive or to put the competition in a place where they can't compete. Like stuff we've been saying for weeks. You know
they broke it all down really, really well. And it's stuff that was logical, but when you're arguing with people who are illogical and blinded, then it's circular. Like you're just going to go around in circles.
A lot of the Sony fans go to the extremes where, hey, Sony is the market leader and they're the best and they're going to be amazing, or oh my god, we're going to die because they're taking COD away from us.
Yeah, that's
Dude,
right.
There's a balance, man. It doesn't need to go to those two extremes.
Especially when you're the same people talking about how your exclusives are the only thing that matters.
Seriously,
that's what's even stupider about it. Like, so is it your exclusives that matter, or is COD more important? Like, are people just buying the console for COD? Like, which is it?
God, there was a line here. Sorry,
no, I was just going to say, Sony will be fine.
Sony will be fine. They might not be market leader. Maybe not. Maybe they still will be.
That's what I mean. At worst, they might not be the dominant market leader. And okay, that's okay. That's fine.
God, it's you know what? Okay. A lot of times when I speak to people online about this, it's a lot of them are just Sony players or Sony things console primarily, right? So they haven't dealt with any of the Xbox One restrictions we all had, right? Games not releasing years later, flipping Destiny content locked out for 2+ years. There was Destiny 1 content that was unavailable until after Destiny 2 released. Yes, it's not comparable directly to this giant $70 billion acquisition. Of course it's not. It still is something though. It still sucked. It's still like at least this thing, if Sony's not market leader, right, then at the very least they can't bully their way with their publishers into doing things like FF7 right? That's a good thing for everyone.
That's right. Yeah. But that's the thing. If all you care about is PlayStation, then that's what you've been conditioned to. Like, you've been conditioned to just be like, well, we get everything first, and we get, we get all these exclusive missions, and we get exclusive maps.
And you guys have talked about this many times on the podcast, where you're like, if you've been a PlayStation guy, a PlayStation fan, you've never been on the other foot, really. PS3 launch, I guess you could say a little bit, but even then they recovered really well, right? Like, you're used to getting everything.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? You might not get everything anymore, or you might not get it first.
That's
anymore.
Right.
Live with it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, it's between Nintendo. So again, working under the assumption that this deal goes through, and then Microsoft has openly said they're going to go for more.
Yeah.
So, there's a possibility that we're in a world in let's just say 2027. So 5 years time. We're in a world where between Nintendo and Microsoft, Sony doesn't get much.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
And they're going to really have to rely heavily on their own output. Yep. The way Nintendo has had to Nintendo's had to rely on their own output for a bare minimum of what? A decade?
Yeah, more than a decade, right? Like Wii U.
Because they did have some COD games. They had some crappy COD ports on the Wii U.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I say crappy COD ports on the Wii U, and they had some stuff here and there. But they've effectively had to rely on their own output for 10, 15 years at minimum. And we could be in a world, maybe in 5 years' time or so, where Sony's going to have to start relying solely on their own output.
And Jim sees this too, right? They all see it.
That's why they're buying up studios.
Exactly. That's why they're shifting over to hopefully less giant production values, some more games as service games, consistent revenue. Like, they've been coasting for so long, and it's just you talked about this before, I think, again, which is like Sony's strategy was basically kill the competition, right?
Yep.
Instead of making our place the best because we want to be the best, we're going to kill the competition so that you want
by making them the worst.
Exactly.
By keeping everything off there.
We have this tag on the Discord exclusively not on Xbox, right?
Yeah.
It's used all the damn time because of stuff like this that they do.
Yeah,
So, like,
that's right.
spare me the remorse. Spare me the sadness, because I don't feel, honestly.
Don't feel for them at all. No.
Hopefully something like this lights a fire under Sony, right? Tells them, hey, Microsoft's clearly not playing on. Admittingly, I feel like that fire was already lit with ZeniMax, but it's like double
a little bit.
Double lit with this, where it's like, oh, holy crap, they're really not.
I think it'll be triple lit if they buy a Japanese publisher.
Yes, 100%.
If they buy one of the big Japanese publishers, and by big, they're not big comparatively to the
like Capcom,
American,
Sega, right?
Those other ones, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking big as in Capcom, Sega, Square Enix, like one or more of those.
Bamco.
Like if Microsoft was to acquire one or more of those, that's when you're going to see the fire. Like, so if you look at the relationship that Capcom has had with Sony over the last 5 years or so, imagine a world where next year Microsoft buys Capcom.
Yeah.
Imagine what that does to Sony then.
It can definitely happen. And really quick, for those of you watching, really appreciate it. If you could hit that like button really quick.
Yes.
We got 50 people watching and only 50 likes.
That's why I'm saying I'm terrible at hosting. I'm terrible at remembering all that sort of stuff. I'm shocking at all that sort of thing.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't want them to get Square though. Square's like my anti list of acquisitions.
Square.
Without Western Division. Yeah.
Square is purely salt value.
Yes.
Like you're only Square is just so you can see certain forums collapse under themselves, Twitter melt. Like Square, I've got especially without Crystal and Eidos, less than zero interest in Square. Yep. Less than zero.
You want a JRPG studio, you don't need to get Square. There are other ones.
From day one, I just want Sega and Capcom. From day one, they are the only two that matter to me personally. They're the only two that matter to me personally. Capcom.
Back to the doc really quick, because we're going on another acquisition tangent. This line was really interesting, I thought, where they asked other competitors, other publishers, hey, what did you think about this? And so the question was, does Activision Blizzard make any game that doesn't have any close competitors? And most of the companies consulted signaled that all the games they make face rivalry from similar competitors across all platforms. With Ubisoft said directly, there's no such a video game title that does not have close competition, as every publisher and every game competes for available playtime, and no title is alone in its genre of game. Correct. Of course, that's true. COD is not this singular behemoth that is
COD has, or I mean, if you want to go direct, COD has Battlefield.
Yes.
If you want to go direct competitor. Now, I'm not arguing Battlefield's as big as COD, but Battlefield's no slouch.
Yep.
And then you've got the smaller, lesser known stuff, and then you've got your battle royales like Apex, and then you've got like Apex is very much a direct competitor to Warzone.
100%.
Very, very much. Honestly, so it's PUBG, so it's Fortnite.
When games get this big, it becomes less even about genre, in my opinion, more about just time, right? When Call of Duty a game this big and Apex and Fortnite and all these games, they're not, even if they're not the exact same genres, they're clearly competing for that same group of people that play like these singular games with their friends and blah, blah, blah. It's
as a matter of fact, Apex and Fortnite and PUBG are such strong competitors that they effectively forced Activision to release their own free-to-play battle royale thing.
Yep.
That's how much of a competition it is that they got COD to pivot. I mean,
COD had to react, not the other way.
Depending on the perspective you'd like to look at it from, and I'm going to take the biased perspective because of my adoration for Titanfall. Titanfall caused COD to change how one of their games played in Advanced Warfare.
Yeah.
Like COD is Titanfall forced them into advanced movement with like 2 or 3 of their games. They fully leaned into all that stuff for a while post Titanfall. Like COD has, the problem is all people do, and again, maybe it's an inherently Sony thing, but all people do is see sales and go, well, then COD's got no rival.
Exactly.
COD doesn't have a rival.
And yet, even sales, this document goes through how even if you count the revenue, it's less than 10% of worldwide revenue. Like, it's not this singular mythical being. It's God.
Yep.
Which makes me wonder why Sony is fighting so hard against it. But I guess that's their job, right? They don't want
because it hurts. Yeah, well, it is their job, but it does. Yeah. COD leaving PlayStation does hurt their bottom line.
That's true.
You can't argue otherwise.
That's true.
It genuinely hurts their bottom line in a very real way. Like Sony would make a lot of money on that 30% cut of every copy of COD that gets sold on the PlayStation Store. Remembering that digital now accounts for something like 80%. Yeah, on PlayStation now.
Something ridiculous.
It's some crazy number. Again, if I'm wrong about 80, please let me know.
Xbox was 80. Sony was a little less.
I thought Sony was close to 80 as well. But in a world where digital now has overtaken physical, COD leaving hurts more than it would have in a physical world. It hurts way more. So I understand Sony fighting it as hard as they are. That's my issue is not Sony. I completely understand why Sony's going to do everything within their power to either delay it or stop it.
Yeah.
My issue has always been why the CMA cares. that's been my number one. Why? Like, I can't understand why the CMA is so concerned about Sony's market position specifically. Where I read a lot of that Brazilian document and I was like, wow, I didn't think of stuff like that. Like, I never thought, like, the Brazilian document they brought up, well, would Microsoft consider, because of the size of ABK and how much IP they've got and blah, 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 would Microsoft consider maybe locking out other third parties because they don't need them anymore on their platform?
Yes. Yeah,
but no, they wouldn't do that because then they'd be hurting their own platform because they'd have less games. So they even brought up stuff to try and think of and then shot it down immediately. Like, it was really good the way they broke it down.
They even brought up that Game Pass is the only subscription, not counting PS Plus or PC subscription, I think they said, that has third-party games on it, right?
Yeah. They were like, there is an argument that maybe they could now prevent third parties from their platform and making money on their platform by locking them out. But then they wouldn't do that because then they'd have a less attractive platform because they'd have way less games. Like, they did it so well. They were, I like that like I said, they brought up stuff I never thought of, like the PC market and the mobile market and cloud and blah. They really went to town on it. But I'm hoping something comes out one day where it's revealed why the CMA cares so much about Sony.
Yeah, it was an embarrassing tweet.
Jim Ryan is a Brit, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. You can always run with conspiracy theories. Hey, not everyone's wrong, right?
I'm
speaking of Brits, wear a tinfoil hat every now and again.
In the chat, Britt brings up a pretty good point where it might be they brought up their points because they're the only ones that complained. So they're just parroting what Sony had said. It's not that they agree. It's just, we're going to look into it because this company has come at us with this. We're going to look into it anyways because it's such an enormous deal.
No, but didn't the CMA say that it was more than just Sony that complained? That there were multiple...
It was also, wasn't it Google as well?
That's what, I think so.
Yeah, Google pretending Stadia.
Yeah, Google complained after the fact.
Yeah,
but and Brit's probably very much correct. For me, it was just when I read it, it was worded like it came almost from the CMA.
Yep.
Maybe I misread it because I'm not a big reader. But it read like it was the CMA coming to bat for them.
Yeah.
Rather than the CMA saying, well, Sony is the only complainant and they have mentioned that ABC. It almost, to me, it read like it was coming from the CMA themselves going into bat for Sony. That's how it read to me.
If that's not how they wanted it to be read, then they did a terrible job. And that's
because that's how it read to me. It read like they were going into bat for them. And I'm like, why? You don't represent them. Yeah. You're not owned by them. You're not a constituent. You why are you...
I was going to a tweet thread. I don't remember who initially posted it. And they're like, no, CMA is worried about this. And I'm like, why the hell is a CMA worried about keeping Sony market leader? What the hell?
That's right. Why do they care? Like, it's such an odd thing to be concerned about. Sony's market leadership is such an odd thing for them to be worried about.
The other thing they talked about in that doc, Sony and cloud. right? They're worried about the potential disruptions in cloud. And then this stock comes out and gave literal numbers here. Where they're like, hey, according to estimates by this market spurge, the share of cloud gaming consumer is only 2.1% right now. And it's expected to rise to only 6.1 by 2026. It's a big jump. Like,
cloud's too small.
Wise.
Cloud's not an issue because cloud's too small.
Like, are you regulating 2040 stuff right now? Because that is not your job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cloud's way too small. So cloud, there won't be an issue. Some will bring it up, but it's not going to gain any traction because it's just too tiny of a percentage of the market to be worried about right now.
Everyone could jump into cloud. Like, are you kidding me here? Sony literally had
anyone
can.
Live.
Like, come on.
Sony was first. Sony was first in cloud. They bought 2 companies. Actually, if you want to talk about monopolies in cloud, for a very small period, Sony had the monopoly in cloud when they bought OnLive and Gaikai, the only 2 cloud gaming providers at the time. They literally purchased the monopoly in cloud gaming at the time and did nothing with it. Like
with their updates to PS Plus, they literally, actually correct me if I'm wrong here because I didn't look into it myself, but they removed the ability to stream to PC, right? With the new tiers when they took out PS Now.
I'm not 100% on that.
I feel like I remember.
I want to be seen to be spreading FUD
because even in this
spreading
document,
misinformation. So I don't know.
Even in this document, they mentioned that Sony doesn't stream to PC. So I'm curious.
I think they will though.
That.
I think again because that was something I was told with their launcher. Their plan is to build the PC streaming into that launcher.
Okay, so maybe they just took it back for now.
So they might have just, if they did have it and then took it back, maybe they're waiting to relaunch it with
assuming
their PC launcher.
Because
as far as I know, the information I've been given about this Sony PC launcher is that it's going to be pretty all-encompassing. I believe the plan is for it to be a very complete thing. Again, that's the plan, but Duckwing Duck. Plans change.
Okay, that's you have to pay extra to stream for it. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Cool. So I know I'm aware, like I'm very aware of the time now. And I think you have to go soon, don't you?
I do. Let me double check. I actually need to watch them really bad. So give me like 30 seconds. I'll double check my situation too. My back has been killing me this last few days. I took a muscle relaxant, but if that didn't work through, then I might not go. So we'll see. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, okay. So it looks like Jesse and I are going to have to wax lyrical for a second, and we may as well keep shit talking about this
it's me.
ABK thing while we wait. Because I think now, or maybe do we just go to the patrons? Because we've covered this ABK stuff fairly extensively. So we'll take this moment to acknowledge our patrons who, for the better part of a couple of years, have really helped us do everything we do. The patrons are the reason the podcast right now looks the way it does. If you go back and look, I just saw in the chat, how about a Rumour Mill? Look, Rumour Mill. I've been getting a lot of stuff lately, and I've got legitimately good stuff that I would so... Like, I got... look, let's talk about the patrons for a sec. So, our patrons are the reason our show looks the way it does. Like, if you go back and watch earlier episodes of our show, they look shocking compared to now. The patron is what helps to make that happen. The patron is what made the book happen. The patrons are what make... At the moment, it's what makes everything happen. So, we really thank the patrons... from the bottom of our heart for their support. We got a bunch of new ones recently. Again,
and we are looking into adding incentives, so monthly things to try and make it so that it's
even
better to be a
YouTube
patron.
Memberships as well. Also want to shout out again to our friend Anorexic, who is a video game developer who gave us a whole bunch of codes for his game Omega Rally Championship, that we still have codes available that we give to every patron that signs up. He may also, I hope he doesn't get upset at me for saying this. He may also, I think, he's working on another couple of games, I think. And we may be working on a deal potentially for that game, but I could be wrong. I hope I'm I hope I'm not saying it right. I think he's in the chat. So if I'm saying anything wrong, can you please tell me? Because, my brain is really bad with this stuff. So yes, so the patrons help us with everything. They also help us have the time for things like what Jesse is working on, which is the extra live stream that he will be doing. Jesse, do you want to talk about that?
Yep. Well, unfortunately, YouTube is shitting the bed right now. My connection's okay, but YouTube is not very good. But yeah, so that'll be November 5th. It's down in the description below. November 5th, we'll be doing a stream on twitch.tv/the XboxEra for the Extra Life charity. It's already hit our goal that I set. So I've set the goal higher. But I'm going to try and get some guys from the team, and we'll play some stuff together in co-op, and I'll be going most of the day, taking a little break to produce the podcast, then coming back. So it should be a lot of fun. November 5th for the kids.
Yes. And one of the perks at the moment of being a patron is that you get to ask community questions, which we read out of the show, which we're going to get to soon. But I did want to just have a talk as people are talking about Rumour Mill. So, there's no Rumour Mill this week. There is stuff I have been getting. I've been getting a lot of DMs. And remember, I'm very, very specific and particular. If someone sends me something and they tell me you can't say anything or you can't blah, 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 that's what I stick to. Like I said, that Sony list, I got that list a while back and got told, don't say anything. You can't say anything. You can't talk to anyone. And I didn't. So I just ignored most of the list. I had a quick peruse of it and I just ignored it. So if I'm told, so there is stuff that I have been told, and one of these things is, actually, you know what? Both of them I think are quite big, and I've got them from two different sources. So I'm confident in them being real. And
so this is a rumor of a rumor mill. There might be a rumor mill in the future.
It's like a rumor of a rumor mill. I'm going to keep pushing on one of them because there's two and they both relate to one thing. So there's two things that relate to one thing. I'm going to push for one of them because what happens with a lot of these rumors is I'll get told something by someone and they say, don't say anything because not enough people know yet. So they're like, don't say anything. Once more people know, then say something. But there's already two people that know about this thing. So I'm hoping that I can push for one of them. And it's funny because it kind of came up as a topic very, very recently. So it was very interesting timing of this thing that I was sent. The timing was very, very curious. But there's stuff that I've been told that I'm like legit excited for, and I'd love to be able. It was like the Iron Man thing. I so wanted to blurt out Iron Man when I got told about the EA Marvel game. I wanted to blurt out Iron Man so bad, but like, what clue could I have given? What clue could I have given for Iron Man that wouldn't have given it away? So yeah. Hugh, big for Xbox. It's one of those things that I can't say, Hugh, without giving it away. Like, I can't say, yes, it's big for Xbox, or no, it's really not. Because then you might go, oh, no, Sony's money hadn't... Like, it's one of those things I can't say without giving away what it is, just like with Iron Man. So I have to just shut up. But yes, apparently we're like choppy. Are we choppy?
The video is, so the audio, I think, is fine.
Okay. I assume it's because of Jesse's internet connection, no?
No, yeah. YouTube says they're experiencing issues right now. You guys are fine for me. It's on YouTube's end. I've lowered the quality down from 9K to 6K bitrate, and it's evened out.
That did it. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
And also, I do not have to go. I'm okay. My back is killing me, and the muscle relaxer did not work. So.
Okay, cool. No worries. So we talked about how you get a perk of community questions, so we may as well move to the community questions now because there's quite a few of them, which was surprising. We got like. Yeah.
Busy week.
It's already been 2 hours.
Yeah.
2.5.
It's been over 2 hours. So it's closer to 2.5 hours. So yeah. Sorry, Hugh. I'm bad with clues. I'm really super bad with giving clues that don't give away what I want to talk about.
Even
if you guys are having any connection issues, it's now fine on my end. They're saying excellent condition. So try refreshing real quick, and that should smooth it out.
Okay, yeah. Like, think about it with, like, the clue I was going to give with Iron Man, with the EA game was, because people were saying clue. I was going to say it's something that I specifically am super excited for. Now, what the hell would everyone have said? No, I didn't. I stopped myself.
Were you wearing a shirt
stopped
or
myself
something?
from saying that, because if I had just said it's something I'm personally super pumped for, what the hell would everyone have said? They would just go, oh yeah, Iron Man, because he loves Iron Man. That's like my favorite Marvel character. So I would have just given it away. So I had to just say nothing, because what clue can I give that doesn't just completely give it away? I saw someone in the chat going, oh, you could have said it's a Black Sabbath thing. Yeah, well, that's Iron Man as well. Everyone knows Black Sabbath sings a song called Iron Man. Like,
if you've ever played like a game called Dixit, you'd be terrible at it with those guys.
Yeah, it would have been too tough for me to give an Iron Man clue without giving it away. Yeah. So, and I'm bad at that, so I just have to shut up. So if I gave a clue about this thing now, you're going to know straight away what it is and what it's about, and I'll get in big trouble. So I'm going to hold off a bit longer. I'm going to keep pestering my sources about one of the two and say, can I at least go with this one? But apparently the ink is just drying on this.
Oh my God,
Which is why I can't. That's right. It's so early. And everyone gives me crap when I say stuff too early because, it's never going to happen. Like, remember, Persona took 1.5 years.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, oh, God, the ink is dry on this. So it's like so early to say something right now.
When you say things so early, you're bound to get in trouble. It's just not worth it.
Yeah,
in the end.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
Also, super quick tangent. We got dates for Personas 3 and 4. January 18th.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? January 19?
Something like that, man. But that's sooner than I expected. I'll be honest.
23rd, 19?
Persona 3 Golden?
I don't know. But yes. So that's why, for those of you that don't give me crap all the time on Twitter, which that obviously doesn't apply to people like Rand, yes, you will understand that I need to shy away from revealing stuff that's too early on, because not only is it people go, oh, you said this was going to happen yesterday, even though I don't give a time frame, and then my sources sometimes get upset because I've revealed stuff when I shouldn't have too early. So I have to be careful with this one. So I'm going to pester them because now multiples know. So if multiples know, there's a better chance I can say something. But don't worry, you won't be disappointed. If I get to say this, you will not be disappointed.
Also, your track record's been pretty good lately, so probably best to keep it that way.
Yeah, I need to be more thorough and more careful.
Yeah.
But yes, community questions. Okay, proven. Hello. There's not much we can agree on nowadays, but I think we can all agree that Chris Pratt needs to be the permanent voice of Mario going forward and should be the voice actor for Mario Odyssey 2. If they make Pratt the voice of Mario in Mario Odyssey 2, I will fly over to Japan and, I'll slap Miyamoto in the face. He perfectly embodies the character and has clearly spent years perfecting this distinct voice. What an actor. He didn't even know. He's like, I spent years stomping on Koopas. He said Koopas 15 minutes later. He has no idea. He's so wrong in every single aspect. He is so wrong for all of it. And I really don't like that they got him. I'm hoping it doesn't ruin the movie for me. But I'm concerned it might. I'm hoping it... Do you remember the movie Shark Tale?
Yeah, of course. Love that movie.
What?
You didn't like Shark Tale? Wait.
What? How old were you when Shark Tale came out?
I mixed it up and Flushed Away, which I did really enjoy. Shark Tale, I still enjoyed. I thought it was okay, but it wasn't that good. The Will Smith
Shark Tale was Chris Pratt as Mario, but applied to the entire cast.
You didn't like Will Smith as Fish?
No, his voice was terrible. Will Smith has a fantastic voice in isolation, and he's also a good actor. But if there's one thing I've learned about voice acting through what I've seen and casting choices and in video games especially, is that you can't just take a big name actor and go, well, let's just use, and he's got a great voice, let's just use him for this character. It doesn't work that way. There's Pixar are the masters. Say what you want about Pixar, but Pixar are the masters of pairing a voice to a character. I don't think I've ever seen them get it wrong. Like, not once. They just know how to do it. Again, I don't think I've seen them get it wrong. And they've used big name actors, and sometimes they use completely unknown actors. That's the beauty of Pixar. They choose their voice based on, does it suit the character. Shark Tale, it's like, let's just go through the list of the biggest actors in Hollywood at the moment and just pick them for each character. Jolie's wrong, De Niro's wrong, Will Smith is wrong. They're all just, that movie is just
it's been a
poor
while since I've seen
voice.
this movie.
Yeah, Shark Tale is just poor voice casting the movie. Like, it's just...
Okay, really quick about Shark Tale. Did you play the game? There was a tie-in game for the movie.
No.
Okay, all right. This game had a dance section. I swear it was impossible. I think me and my brothers tried for like weeks to get past it, and we ended up just dropping it. It was like an hour into the game, too. It was just so stupid.
But... and that's what's happened with Mario. They've just gone, well, who's a big name, safe actor right now that parents know and families know? Oh, yeah, Chris Pratt. We'll just get him.
You're going to need to go in with an open mind if you want to enjoy the movie, I feel, because it's going to be tough.
I hope it doesn't wreck the movie, but I worry it will. Like, it stands out like a sore thumb. When a voice doesn't align with the character, it stands out like a sore thumb. And Shark Tale, I couldn't watch Shark Tale because of it. Everyone's voice was so wrong that I couldn't watch it.
You know what? Maybe just wait for it to come to streaming and then just select the French dub or the Italian.
Actually,
dub.
no. Pixar did get it wrong once. Lightyear.
I keep forgetting that's Pixar.
Hearing Chris Evans as Lightyear just looked odd to me. And it was a part of the reason... to me, it dragged the movie down a little bit. To me. Like, say what you... Again, I don't care about the stuff Tim Allen has done outside of his Pixar voice work. I'm purely talking about his Pixar voice work. So I saw people on Twitter coming at me, oh, it's just because it's trendy to hate Chris Pratt because his religious beliefs. I don't care about Chris Pratt's religious beliefs. Same way I don't care about Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is a crazy person in real life. I don't care.
Seriously.
His Mission Impossible movies are fantastic, and he is a nut job when it comes to doing his own stunts. Mel Gibson is a little bit racist. Still a great actor, still a great director. His directing, his acting is still great. Same with Chris Pratt. I like Chris Pratt, the actor. Yeah, he's a bit of a weirdo in real life, but he's a great... So I don't care about that outside stuff. I just care about what they do in whatever. So regardless of Tim Allen's personal life, Tim Allen is Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
He just is. So hearing Chris Evans, I was like, this is weird. This doesn't fit. It's just odd to me. And I guess that was reflected in the toys. Like the Lightyear toys looked like they came from Wish.com, even though they were the official Lightyear toys. Every time I see them, they look like Wish.com Lightyear toys. Just everything about that movie and surrounding it and its merchandise, everything. It was okay. It was just a very okay movie, Lightyear. But part of the reason it didn't sit with me was Chris Evans.
Okay. It's just I do agree, by the way. Again, Pratt he's not a good pick. Of course he's not. He's just
not. Again, ignore his acting ability. I love him as Star-Lord. Love him as Star-Lord. But he's not Mario. He's not Mario. And if Paramount can spend $20 million fixing CG Sonic, I'm sure Illumination can spend a couple of $100,000 paying a better voice actor to do Mario. Like, you're just redoing lines. There's no CG to do. There's no reshoots. You're just getting someone else to read the lines. Like, just, I don't know, pull a Milli Vanilli. Like, are any of you old enough to remember Milli Vanilli? Surely you are, Jesse.
Oh yeah, of course.
Just pull a Milli Vanilli. Like, get someone else to voice Mario and just say it's Chris Pratt. Just say it's Chris Pratt and get someone else to voice it. That's better.
Oh man.
And no one will know the difference. Like Milli Vanilli. They were the front, but it was two other guys singing. Don't worry about it. No one will know the difference. Anyway. Brit has this funny thing where it's a meme where it's a spin on the up and atom from The Simpsons, and it's Chris Pratt as Rainier. What's his name? Wolfcastle.
Yeah, Rainier Wolfcastle.
Yeah, Rainier Wolfcastle, and the guy's going, "Let's go," and Chris Pratt's going, "Let us go." It's so true. Hey, it's me. I'm Mario. That's what it is. It's me. I'm Mario. It's just, it's going to be the worst. Okay, Hugh. Yes, blame it on the rain. Hugh. Howdy, guys. Who do you think would win a fight between the following? Banjo versus Crash. There's a whole list here.
Yeah.
Banjo versus Crash. I'm going to say Banjo because he also has the bird. He also has the bird.
No, he doesn't have Kazooie. It's just Banjo. That's why I was going to say Crash. Cause,
okay.
You know what I mean?
But Banjo's a bear.
That's true.
Crash is just a bandicoot.
But he can get crushed and walk it off. So...
I'm still going to go Banjo on this one.
Okay.
Myself, personally. Joanna Dark versus Marcus Phoenix. Probably Marcus.
Yeah. I mean, how seriously...
As much as I like Joanna Dark more in a fight...
Well, she'd be like an assassin, right? So, I mean, she can sneak up on this
Marcus.
Guy. Man,
Marcus has heavy armor on, though.
Except for a helmet.
Joanna is in a skin-tight leather, borderline catsuit. Marcus is in super heavy armor, so I'm going to have to say that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Probably Marcus.
He has better weaponry, too. So.
Ooh, here's the big one. Doom Guy versus Master Chief.
It's. I mean, listen. I am a Halo guy. Look behind me, all the Halo crap. I love Halo. I breathe Halo. But Doom Guy would wipe the floor with the Chief, and it wouldn't even be a contest. All right,
why?
Because the dude fights literal gods, man. And
in Doom Eternal, he is like two Supermans. He's just ridiculously overpowered.
He could take out Samus. He is.
Yeah, but Master Chief is like a literally enhanced 7-foot super soldier in armor.
Okay, Doom Guy
is still ultimately a guy.
He has no. Oh, I don't know.
No, if you play through Doom Eternal, he is not just a guy anymore. He is a literal god. Yeah, he is a god.
Even Doom 2016, his gear was mythical. He was encased in a tomb, and they rose him up like some kind of
I guess so.
Basically. But more importantly, Chief himself isn't that strong, even for Spartan wise. You know what I mean? I feel like the more fun discussion would be Doom Guy versus Samus. That'd be more interesting. Because Samus has Samus, she has moments where she's stupidly powerful with certain suits and stuff. So
yeah, that's true.
I used to spend a lot of time arguing Samus versus Chief in 2006, 2007 old forums. Man,
Raz versus Blinks.
Blinks?
Surely Raz.
What? Blinks can slow down time. There's no contest there. Raz can just go inside the dude's
As
head.
long as he catches him before he can slow down time, he can just...
Yeah, if Raz gets him Professor X style with his mind before he gets to do anything, then...
I mean, have you seen Blinks, though? That dude's probably has some messed up stuff in his head, man. I don't know if Raz can,
I don't know.
Can make it out.
Yeah, unless it's a Wanda situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Where goes into his head and Blinks is just yeah, you're in my mind now. And just snaps yeah, who knows with that one.
God.
I'm gonna just because and I watched an X-Men Last Stand was on TV last night, so I'm gonna just go with Raz.
Okay.
Remember that was the one where Professor X died?
Yeah, of course.
Phoenix just obliterated him.
Man, I'm happy they at least.
What a moment that was, though. What a moment that was when when he was up, when she lifted him out of that chair, I remember watching that for the first time going, oh, they're not, are they? Like, they're not. Like, it's funny to look back. Like, in a post-MCU world, isn't it funny to go back and look at those Fox X-Men movies? They went pretty full on. Like, those movies went pretty hard.
The first two are still phenomenal films, in my opinion. The third is decent, you know?
I'm just saying, like, and the other one that was on the other night was X-Men Origins Wolverine with the shitty Deadpool. That was on. There's a channel in Australia called Seven Mate. It's literally called Seven Mate, and they play a lot of action movies, and they're on a Marvel kick at the moment. So they play Deadpool, Deadpool 2, X-Men Origins, X-Men Last Stand, X-Men Apocalypse. They're just going through all of them.
Okay.
And it was funny that seeing that change between. They played Deadpool 2, where in the end credit scene, he shoots himself as Wade. Yeah. He goes into that scene and shoots himself.
Wade gets the script, right?
Yeah, but then they played that movie as well.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it was... Well, yeah, his name is Wade, Deadpool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny to look back on those X-Men movies post-MCU. Those movies got full on, like decapitations and stabbings, and like they were.
Dude, that in the first movie, when that dude turned into water and just died, that freaked me out so bad as a kid. Like
it was full on. Like those movies didn't. Like a lot of the Marvel movies back then didn't muck around. Pre-Disney buyout, like the Punisher.
Even the first Spider-Man, the dude gets stabbed, and it's like pretty graphic.
Those movies didn't hold back, like, but then they weren't meant to be kid friendly back then. They were for the teenage comic book nerds that wanted the more violence and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, yes, anime compilations. Blade was, oh god, I saw Blade in the cinema when I was 18 years old. I was 18 years old when Blade, and I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. Like that opening scene in Blade with the song, the trance song, and he just walks in and they scatter and then they just like, oh my god, that is still one of the best opening scenes, not just in a comic book movie, but in an action movie. Like it's still one of the best opening scenes in an action movie.
Barring the CGI, Blade holds up pretty damn well.
Oh, well, yes, of course the CGI is not going to hold up from 98.
Yeah, exactly. The second movie kind of does, though, I'll be honest.
You got to remember, we were spoiled by Jurassic Park. So Jurassic Park was 93. And that is CG that held up for a good 20 years or more.
Yeah.
It's only now in the 4K era that Jurassic Park CG shows the seams pretty badly. Like it took 4K to undo that illusion. That's how well that CG held up. Most CG around the 90s wasn't that great to begin with. Most CG. We were just spoiled by Jurassic Park. But yeah, like, oh my god, what a tangent.
Yeah, seriously.
We were talking about Raz versus Blinks, which led to X-Men, which led to, oh my god.
Blade, apparently somehow, which led to CGI and Jurassic.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I can't help it.
Man.
Okay, Steve versus Alex. I don't know. Aren't they basically the same thing?
I mean,
just
one's
in a different skin.
One's holding a pickaxe, so I'm gonna go with the guy holding a pickaxe.
Yeah, we'll just go with the one holding the weapon, I guess. But like, I've got the amiibos, and they're just the same character.
Oh man.
The next one is Corvo Atano from Dishonored versus Commander Jackson from Crackdown. I'm gonna go with Jackson.
Really?
I'm a Crackdown guy.
Yeah, but Corvo has like magic powers.
Does he? Yeah, but it's Terry Crews, man.
Yeah, but Jackson...
It's enhanced superhero level Terry Crews.
Jackson at the beginning of Crackdown or Jackson at the end of Crackdown? That kind of changes.
Well, that's the thing. If we're going to talk magical powers and take those into account, then you go fully enhanced.
Yeah, you're right.
Crackdown.
You're right. Yeah.
And fully enhanced Crackdown, you are a literal superhuman that can lift giant trucks and throw them. Like, so if he gets a punch in, he will break him in half, regardless of his magic. All he has to do is get one punch in and he's gone. or pick up a truck and throw it at him. So yeah,
what is
I'm
this
gonna go
question, by the way? I'm scrolling down more, and it gets wilder and wilder. I'll just
yeah. Jansen Freed from Lost Odyssey versus Orchid Killer Instinct. I don't know. I'm just gonna go Orchid because I never played Lost Odyssey and I played.
He's immortal, so she can't kill him.
Okay.
Good question.
So if he's immortal, then I guess he wins. But Orchid kicks ass.
Yeah.
Then the ultimate Rumble fight: Phil Spencer versus Jim Ryan versus Gabe Newell versus Shuntaro Furukawa. I don't know who that is.
Neither do I.
Who's Shuntaro Furukawa?
Out of Nintendo, maybe?
I guess. I'm going to look it up.
Current president of Nintendo.
Oh, he's the president. Is he really the president of Nintendo? How have I never heard of him?
Seen him before in my life.
I've never heard of him. I'm only going to go with Phil because Phil comes across like a bloke who legitimately probably goes to the gym.
Yeah, but he's too nice.
Works out.
He's too much of a nice guy. I don't know if he.
I get it, but in the end, we're working under the assumption that he's forced into this fighting situation.
Okay, fair enough.
And Phil comes across like a dude that potentially works out here and there. So
I think he's still the youngest, probably. So I'm just going to go with that.
Yeah. I'm going to go with that. Okay, that was that question. That question was a bit more full on than I was expecting. I hope we answered it appropriately, Hugh.
If Reggie was there, by the way, I would have picked Reggie. I'm just saying.
Yeah, maybe. DeoGame. We didn't know how good we had it with Pablo Schreiber, eh? In line with today's topic, what's he talking about? Oh yeah, okay, to Pablo Schreiber. Yes, Halo. In line with today's topic, if you had to pick an Xbox character you like to be voiced or played by Chris Pratt in a forthcoming movie, who would you pick? No cop-outs by saying you really want him to play Tiffy, the Candy Crush girl, or whatever, unless you really love her and think he'd do the role justice. Personally, I can't think of worse live-action Bairds, so Baird is my answer. Also, Pratt was a bot first. He was in Kinect Star Wars Duel trailer. Was he really in that?
Clicking the trailer.
Yeah, look at that. He's in a trailer for Kinect Star Wars Duel. And that was back before he got in shape
but
too.
Star Wars hits you for even the video now.
Do they? He's full on fighting Darth Vader in this trailer. And it's a trailer for a Kinect game. Wow.
Okay, like, Chris Pratt is a good actor. He really is. Like, I know a lot of people joke about him as a voice actor. Like, I wouldn't mind him in an Xbox property. I got a good answer, though. You have one? Actually, my answer is a bit of a cheating.
There is a PS. There is a PS to this question, and it's an interesting one that I didn't think of. If they wanted a bankable, young, attractive, popular Guardians of the Galaxy star to do a Brooklyn accent for Mario, Bradley Cooper was right effing there. Yeah.
Brad
Cooper.
It's me, Rocket Raccoon. I mean, Mario.
But that's what I mean. But what I'm saying is Brad Cooper showed with Rocket that he can do a voice that doesn't sound like him. Yeah. You only hear Brad Cooper just in very short, slight moments. You hear Brad Cooper. If you hadn't told me when Guardians of the Galaxy first came out, if you hadn't shown me the cast, I never would have guessed who Rocket was.
Same here.
Never would have guessed who it was. And that's the key to someone who can be a decent voice actor.
And you see his recordings, and it's not done in post. That's his voice.
Yeah, that is his voice. And that's what I'm saying. So that's why I don't understand the industry's penchant for Nolan North.
Yes.
I hear Nolan North in every role he is in. When he's Deadpool, he's still Nolan North. When he's Desmond in Assassin's Creed, he's still Nolan North. When he's the Prince in Prince of Persia in 2008, he's still Nolan North. Like, when he's Drake, he's Nolan North. Like, his voice is just his voice. But I just think that he became such a big name in video game voiceover work that they just kept using him, even though his voice was effectively the same in everything he did.
Voice actors in general, I feel like the entire industry is really like
It's almost incestuous.
Yeah, but what I mean is
It's
like they
almost
take
incestuous.
advantage of certain things. Like, I feel like it's really tough to break out, as like a video.
There's
IPA.
like 4 actors that just get used for 90% of the work.
Yep.
Jennifer Hale, Laura Bailey,
Nolan
North, and Troy Baker.
Yeah.
It's those 4 that get used for like 80% or more of the jobs out there, and then the rest is just the scraps for everyone else. Like it's weird, and I'm sure there's like a ton of great voice actors out there, and they're not getting utilized. Like I said, like that freaked me out when I saw that Brad Cooper was Rocket. I'm like, yeah,
I didn't.
Get
of course,
Brad
Vin
Cooper.
Diesel, same thing, right? I didn't expect that.
But isn't his voice a little bit? Surely that's a bit modified.
Oh, it has to be.
It has to be.
But to the question, so who would I want? Chris Pratt. I forgot his name for a second. I was gonna say Brad Pitt. Who would I want Chris Pratt to play in Xbox property?
Character.
The captain in Outer Worlds. Kind of cheating because he's basically that already with Star-Lord.
Yeah.
That would fit really damn well.
Yep. You know
get
where
pretty
else I
funny
think
shows
Chris
there.
Pratt would fit brilliantly?
Mm.
Assuming they're not strict. Oh, but no, it would fit in with the comedic part. If Chris Pratt tried to do... So, okay, bear with me here. If Chris Pratt leaned into the joke and did his voice as an American trying to do a British accent and led Fable. So lean into the comedic aspect of it, and instead of trying to do a British accent, do an American trying to do a British accent. If you get my
Fable
drift. Do you understand what I mean?
An adaptation, and they don't cast a Brit main cast, you will have riots like I've never heard of.
Nah, but I think that could work.
industry.
Getting Chris Pratt to do an American who is trying to do a British accent to lean into the humor side of it.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
So you know how Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy, he kind of does it in Guardians of the Galaxy. That scene where he's talking to Chris Hemsworth and he's imitating his voice. I'm talking about that kind of level of self.
I could see
sort
that.
of.
I could see that.
I think that could work with the protagonist of Fable in that world, leaning into the humor side of it.
I could see it.
I could see it. And the story could be that he's a traveler from another land, America.
That'd be interesting.
Like he's a traveler from another land where their accent is American or whatever. Like, I think Chris Pratt could work in Fable.
I could see it. I wouldn't say the main cast, but I feel like as a side character or like one of the main casts, I could see it.
Yeah, I think it could work. So yes, I hope we answered that question. Hytham G. Hello. Well, John's not here. Jesse and Nick. Went to Comic-Con yesterday, had fun, destroyed my wallet by spending on things since I got very good, nice stuff from the convention. But question, have you guys been to a convention in your place where you guys live, where it's like Comic-Con and such? What accent on Mario, who's been voiced by Chris Pratt, were you anticipating on since that Mario movie has finally been shown? 3, have you guys ever...
I sense a story here.
Have you guys ever smoked hookah before, aside from the tobacco you guys smoke before or currently smoke as of now? Because I am smoked my hookah since yesterday, macaron flavor taste, though I mainly smoke the peppermint flavor tobacco. Your guys' take?
Interesting question.
I have never smoked anything in my life.
I have. I'm not a smoker. I people try to peer pressure me into it as they do when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
And I because I was so anti everything, people tried that much harder with me to get me to do it. So I tried cigarettes and they were disgusting. I probably shouldn't because marijuana is illegal here, so I probably shouldn't say anything more on that.
Mm.
You know, I tried things just because my friends wanted me to, but that was it. I was just trying, so it's gross.
Yeah,
So
hookah. I mean, I've been around it a lot. I've never
hookahs
tried
are
it
those
myself.
big things. It's like the big vase, and it's got the thing coming out of it.
You put the flavor in, and it's like a social thing.
Yeah.
People, they get together and then they do it. I saw my brother try, and he smoked it and had like a 5-minute coughing fit. So I'm like, you know what? I'm okay. I don't need to try this.
Yeah. As to the other two questions, I've been to conventions. Yes, I've been to PAX Australia, which is on as we speak. PAX Australia, really? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yep, PAX Australia is on as we speak.
Huh.
Yeah. There's people we know that are there. So Diana is there. Shadowless Edge, who is a follower of ours. He was a patron at one point, I think. Or might still be. He's there. Cameron. Lance McDonald, I think, is there. He and I have our little thing. So yes, PAX Australia is on right now. I've been to that before. That's where I first played Ori and Tunic many years ago. Victoria, the Victorian government just introduced in Melbourne an international games festival that we're going to start doing. Like the Victorian government is really going to start leaning into gaming, which is great. There was this old game show that I used to love. It's actually where I first tried the Wii. And it's actually where I first saw Gears of War on 360. So Microsoft and Nintendo went all out at this Melbourne game show. I can't remember what it was called. I still remember going back in 2006. It was before the Wii came out and before Gears came out. So it was around the middle of the year.
Yeah.
And we went to the big exhibition center in Melbourne, and Microsoft had this truck. They had this big truck set up, and it was a Gears of War truck. And you'd go in, people, like, you'd have turns, you'd line up, you'd go in, and they had all these screens set up in this truck where you could, I can't remember if you could try Gears of War or if they just showed it being played on all these screens. And I just remember me and my brother and a mate, we all went to this show and we saw Gears of War. Imagine that's how you see Gears of War for the first time. We were like, oh, this is unbelievable. And Nintendo had this amazing setup with Wii's, which hadn't come out yet. So we're trying Wii Sports for the first, and we're like,
oh my God,
this is unbelievable. We're like
motion
bowling
controls,
and playing tennis, and like, this is, I have such fond memories. And don't get me wrong, after that 06 show, each year got progressively worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, till they just got rid of it. It lasted like 3 or 4 years. But that 2006 one was so perfect because the 360 had just come out. The Wii had not come out. Gears of War, like, it was just timed to perfection in this way where it was such a special event purely because of the timing.
Gears, when you first saw it, must have looked good, right? It was a big
my God. And they were showing it in HD. So they were because remember, HD was a new thing back in 2006. It wasn't the commonplace thing we all know now.
That converter or something for the 360 at that time.
HD was a new thing back then. Like, my first TV that my 360 was running on was a tube TV. It was a Sony Trinitron.
Yeah.
Widescreen 26-inch tube TV that I still have to this day, mind you.
Oh my God.
And I was running the 360 through Component. And it still looked amazing. But like, when you see Gears for the first time in proper HD on an LCD, it was like, what is this?
When I was playing Assassin's Creed, when I first switched over to HD, I'm like, oh, you're supposed to be able to read the map? I didn't know that.
Oh my God, you can read the text? What? It's not in another language? What do you mean? Man. Yeah. So yes, I've been to shows, but I'm not sure if Aarsal has been to conventions.
Not much.
Have you ever been?
So before I went to, I went to Orlando a couple of weeks ago to go to the Halo event. That's probably like my only real convention I've been to, because it was a convention. There's a main stage, a side stage, a bunch of booths set up. Before that, just like, no, that's not a con. So no, yeah, that's it basically. I've been wanting to go to stuff like Anime North, which is like Toronto's Anime Con or things like that, but it's just never.
PAX is good.
PAX.
The PAX.
I think Toronto has something game wise. I'm definitely gonna hit it up next time it happens. for sure.
PAX 2018 was good. I got to play Days Gone there. Got to play Tunic, Ori,
right?
Like,
yeah, I remember you talking
Will
about
of the
that.
Wisps. Yeah, I got to like PAX 2018 was a really, really good one. I think Artful Escape was there as well. I can't remember.
We've now hit 3 hours.
God,
Yeah, I
long
know.
podcast.
What accent on Mario who's been voiced? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about the Chris Pratt thing. I would have gone with John Turturro. Maybe Milo Ventimiglia as well. I think Milo Ventimiglia. And I feel like Milo Ventimiglia is big enough. Like This Is Us was a hit TV show. And I feel like it's put Milo Ventimiglia on the map enough where he could have...
Oh my God. I did not know his full name. This is Heroes, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Milo
Milo Ventimiglia. He played Rocky's son. And he looks a lot like Sylvester Stallone. So it was actually like an amazing casting choice. He plays Rocky's son in the Rocky movies.
I did not know that. I've only seen the first
And
three. So.
if you watch This Is Us, there are moments where his mouth even takes the shape that Stallone's does in when he exaggerates his thing. Like it's actually uncanny how much he could pass for Sylvester Stallone's son.
That's pretty cool.
I think Milo Ventimiglia probably could have done it as well, personally.
Yeah.
And to me, he's family friendly. I think This Is Us has put him in the spotlight just enough where the Mario movie could have been his true breakout moment. But
Funny story though, he's not Italian.
Ventimiglia,
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, no, I'm
I
kidding.
have to
Yes.
say,
Okay,
I'd say, of course he is, with a name like Ventimiglia, as if he's not Italian. And his first name's Milo.
Man.
Of course he's
Yeah,
Italian.
right.
Okay. Creaky Legs. Hello, lads. That's it. Creaky only wrote this and nothing else, except what I'm saying right now. They must have not had much to say this week. Oh well, saves us a 20-minute tangent. Thank you
Much
for that,
needed
Creaky
to.
Legs.
Yeah.
Skedaddle. So welcome Skedaddle back to the Patron. He was gone for a while, now he's come back. Skedaddle. Yeah, we should have talked about this. I completely forgot about this. I wonder, could we take a moment to pay tribute to the Metro Exodus animator who died fighting for Ukraine? Andrii, Nizrok, Korzinkin worked at 4A Games, which is a part of the Embracer Group, having been acquired back in 2020. I'm just going to say Andrii, because sometimes that's how they... I'm not aware of how to pronounce it, sorry. Andrii could have comfortably moved to another studio within Embracer. Instead, he chose to sacrifice his life, defending against the invasion of his homeland. It is really courageous that ordinary people such as doctors, teachers, and office workers are standing up to a formidable Russian army. In memory of Andrii, did you guys get a chance to play Metro Exodus or any of the other games in the series? Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, did you hear about this?
Yeah.
About the
I
dev
read
that
the
died
report.
fighting for Ukraine? That's like... Yeah,
It's kinda like
it's one of those, not bittersweet. Bittersweet's not the right thing. It's one of those, like... It's like a tragedy and a waste of talent, but at the same time, courageous and heroic. Like, do you know what I mean? It's that...
Yeah.
It's like, man, what a waste of talent, and because those devs 4A are a very talented studio, which is obviously made up of very talented developers. But at the same time, what he did was like, he's fighting for his country. He's like incredibly brave and incredibly heroic.
Stuff like this
So
really
it's-
puts things in perspective. You know what I mean?
Doesn't it?
Where it's like, hey, this
Doesn't
is
it?
reality.
Yeah.
Like the times we spend hours arguing on internet.
Yeah,
that's-
like
that's
there's
not
idiots on
reality.
Twitter worrying about how the fruit reacts when you shoot it
Yeah.
in a game and comparing it
God.
between two games, and this guy's like literally fighting for people's lives
Yeah.
while the idiots are fighting on Twitter. So yes, it is. It's God, and he was really young. He was like 33.
Yeah.
It's like far out.
It needs to end, man. This conflict, this invasion in general. I don't understand how it's still going for so long, but that's...
Didn't they take a big step towards potentially making that happen?
They did,
bridge?
last I heard. Yeah, but I mean,
With
who
the
knows?
bridge?
The taking of the bridge, right? Yeah.
But yes, the Metro.
Metro Exodus.
I haven't played any of the Metro games.
None of them.
I own them multiple times on
They're like
multiple
$6.
platforms
I've always picked
because
them up.
they've given them away on
That too.
Epic,
Yeah.
Xbox Live Gold, PlayStation Plus, Steam. I think I even got them as freebies. Like they've been given away. And the thing is, people forget, every time those games get given away, the developers got money for that. So it's a smart way to do it. Like if you get all your sales and you've exhausted all your sales of a game, why wouldn't you get more free money to give your game away on all these different services? Like it's just...
No, fully agreed. It's just...
it's a great way for devs to make more money to help fund new projects.
I mean, quick tangent, but hey, Chivalry 2 just got 500,000 players since it got added to Game Pass.
Because of Game Pass.
Yep,
that's what I mean. Like it's people keep bemoaning these sub-services where I think if you take the strategy, if a developer takes the strategy that works for them, so for some devs, the right strategy is launching for free. Look at Rocket League.
Yeah.
Rocket League would most likely not be what it is today if it hadn't launched for free on PlayStation Plus.
Yep. Oh, 100%.
That's the irony of
100%.
Sony fanboys saying, oh, well, we're never going to... Rocket League's one of the biggest games in the world because it launched for free on PlayStation Plus.
And there's another example too, right? That didn't do as well, but Free Guys. Same Fall Guys.
Yeah, Fall Guys, yes.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
And
that strategy is not going to work for everyone, though. Yeah. It's not going to work. Launching for free isn't going to work for everyone. But the beauty of these sub-services is that you have so many options. Yeah. So if you think it'll work for your game to launch for free, then do it. If you'd rather max out your sales and then take the extra cash injection of launching on Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, Epic Games giveaway, Steam giveaway, whatever, do it that way. Like, that's the beauty of it. Devs have these options available to them now that they didn't have before.
Like, I'm sure we've talked about it, but it's why the direct comparisons to stuff like Netflix and Amazon don't work, because subscription is not their only revenue for these titles. Even if you couldn't buy the games themselves, let's say you couldn't buy the games themselves, every game these days have their form of MTX. You know what I mean? So like, there's always other avenues alongside. It's additive. It's not exclusive. Like, stuff that should be common sense. You know what I mean? Like,
I know. But this is another tangent, and it's probably, and I'll be honest, it's my fault. It's probably an inappropriate tangent as well. Okay, next question. Kraken56. Hello, guys. I've been thinking about when Xbox will show off more of their games. Most likely there is no XO this year. Well, yeah, I mean, I had said a while back that I think the plan is to have an XO, all things permitting. It's now, the 8th, 9th of October. Fair to say, if we were going to have an XO, they probably would have announced it by now, but I don't know. I hope they have a big Game Awards. Well, they seem to go big at the Game Awards a lot these days. They can show off their big three coming out in the first half and maybe something else. The reason I think it is likely is the amount of viewership the Game Awards get dwarfs the attention Xbox would get on a standalone Xbox show. E3 is different due to the history and the name being ingrained with people. They can get millions of eyes on these games and then have a show to spotlight those games more in depth next year. They could even show off Hellblade again. Do you think this is how Xbox is viewing the Game Awards, or will they be more low profile? Well, yeah, I think if they're not doing XO, which it looks like they're not, they will probably go all in on the Game Awards again. That would make the most sense. Sorry?
You expecting like more than one or two trailers?
I think they'll probably do Hellblade again, because why not? Hellblade has, like, the Game Awards has become the place to show Hellblade now. They've done it twice. Yeah. So it would make sense that they would probably show another Hellblade trailer again.
And if it's releasing next year, possibly, then good time to show it. Right?
You know, they revealed the Series X there. So it looks like Microsoft is leaning into the Game Awards lately. So I would not be surprised to see a Hellblade trailer, maybe a Starfield trailer, Redfall, I think, more likely than Starfield, just because this is the crowd they want for Redfall, right? That's watching TGA. The more social crowdish, that's going to play a cooperative game. Yeah. And then maybe they have a trailer either for something new or for something we haven't seen in a while, like an Avowed.
Interesting.
Or something like that. Again, that's just my prediction.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they've literally had a presence at every single TGA since its inception in 2017. So they'll be there. That's like without a doubt.
Yeah. Just their level of participation would depend, yes, on an XO existing or not existing.
Yes.
So if they were to have an XO, which it doesn't look like they will, they would go hard on an XO.
Yeah.
And then take it a bit easier at TGAs, probably just have another Hellblade trailer and, you know, maybe that's about it. But if they don't have an XO, they go bang.
I have a feeling that their next event is E3, like their own event, just kind of how it is. I mean, they have other events coming in. I'm hoping with ABK...
They still need to stop that.
They do. I 100% agree. But I'm hoping with ABK, they have so much stuff. Like, okay, guys, stop. We can't just do one E3 show the whole year. Let's do something about this. But who knows?
They need to spread it out more. They need to do it more like what Sony and Nintendo do and have more stuff in between. Like, if 2023, if 2023 is the year where they finally start getting games out, then that means you should have more shows to accommodate those games.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like, so from next year on, the whole save for E3 thing needs to end. Next year. It needs to end.
I agree. Fully.
Okay. Good old Collingwood. Hello, Soul, Nick, and Jesse. So, one thing recorded about Microsoft's statement regarding the treatment of Call of Duty is if Microsoft acquires Activision Blizzard King is to make future games available for other platforms, such as the Nintendo Switch. So, if Xbox were to port Call of Duty to the Switch, how should they do it? The most obvious way would be to do what other games have done before and make them cloud source games, like Control before it. That might entail owning an Xbox Game Pass account. On the other hand, another option would be to make Call of Duty a standalone game, either available physically or as a full download. That might mean that Xbox may need to acquire a studio whose reason to be would be to port Xbox PC games to Switch, for the same reason Sony purchased Nix's. So how do you think Xbox games should be ported to Switch? Good old Collingwood. This is actually a good question.
It is, yeah.
And the reason I had to mute my cough there.
That was like a quick mute right there. Nice.
Yeah. The reason for that is, according to rumors, the alignment of Switch 2, Switch Pro, whatever you want to call it, could align quite nicely with the acquisition of ABK going through. My assumption is the Switch Pro, Switch 2 will be powerful enough to at least run Call of Duty at a 1080-60 level.
Really?
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't it be?
Just have you seen the latest trailer for COD? It looks
if
really
you can
good.
If you can get it
Runs
close
on
to what an
Series S.
Xbox One, Xbox One or PS4, if you can get it close to that, then they can. And those aren't hitting 60; they're hitting 50 to 60. And I think the benefits of use of that.
It's supposedly going to support DLSS, the new Switch.
Yeah.
So you take that into account as well. There's no reason they couldn't do 1080-60 downports to the Switch. The current Switch, forget it. It would be a cloud version.
Yes. The only game that I could see them porting to the current Switch, and it'd be interesting if they did, is COD Mobile. That's the only game I could see them porting to the current Switch. Yeah.
And why wouldn't you?
Yeah, right. Why wouldn't you do
as
that?
well? Why wouldn't you? I'm surprised Tencent hasn't done it.
Seriously, right?
I'm really surprised Tencent hasn't already done that.
I mean, when Fortnite first came to the Switch, I opened it and I played it, and I mean, it works. It looks terrible, or it looked at least back.
It doesn't look the best.
But so yeah, even with the new Switch, they definitely could. Though I think their priority wouldn't be like the mainline games; it'd be Warzone if they had to pick one.
Yeah, probably. But I feel like the next Switch will open up a lot of doors for third parties.
Yeah, makes sense.
From a hardware perspective.
It really should. If it doesn't, Nintendo did something wrong.
Yeah. Like, because remember, 1080-60, even in a 4K world, 1080-60 is a very, very, very viable target.
Yes.
Because 1080 upscales beautifully to 4K. Yeah. Upscales, especially on Samsung TVs. If you own a Samsung TV and your input is native 1080, it upscales magnificently on a Samsung TV.
Yep.
So if the new Nintendo Switch is a genuinely capable 1080-60 console, it opens a lot of doors for third parties. And I envision Microsoft would be all in. Like, Microsoft would just be like, get it on there.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they? Especially if they can get stuff in return, right? Who knows?
Yeah, if they, but the only spanner in that works would be if Microsoft is planning a portable Series S.
Yeah.
If Microsoft is planning a portable Series S, or just a portable in general, then they would be less inclined to put stuff on Switch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They'd be less inclined. I'm not saying they wouldn't. I'm just saying they'd be far less inclined to. Because they have their own portable to push.
And, ABK hasn't been relying on Switch revenue this whole time. They don't need to rely on it if, they don't have to. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like, if they do make the portable thing, they can just say, hey, we're going to focus to get our audience on portable with this. This is our thing, right? Whatever it is. I'm having trouble thinking straight. Yeah, it was a great question. Yeah.
It's a good question. Okay. Jordan White, who is JWhite723, who's a new patron. His first post on the forum is also this post. And it is a long one. So he's picking up the mantle from Keras and
Creaky Legs.
what DeoGame used to do.
Oh my god.
Hytham for a while.
Hytham for a while. Okay. Hey guys. I know you talked about it a little bit last episode, but I thought I would add an alternate view to the conversation. After Ryan Reynolds confirmed that Hugh Jackman and Wolverine would be in the next Deadpool movie, and then Xbox made a small comment to their Twitter post, an idea popped into my head. Instead of the Wolverine game coming to Xbox, which I highly doubt will happen, what if Xbox bought the rights to the Deadpool IP and made a new Deadpool game? He's a beloved superhero character, which many think Xbox lacks, and he loves to rip on other heroes. So whoever ends up developing the game could have fun taking shots at other superhero characters who have their own games, but will probably never come to Xbox. E.g. Spider-Man, Wolverine, of course, etc. His main weapons are his swords and guns, and with Xbox making the game, since they're known for being the system for shooters, there are way too many possibilities. Crazy thought here, but imagine several of the different Xbox studios having a part in the game somehow. Since Deadpool is the king of breaking the fourth wall, you could technically do whatever you want to add multiple elements of all their shooting series into his combat. Here are a few ideas that instantly came to mind. Having all this happen at once would be complete overkill, but moments like this spread out over the entire game would be hilarious. Deadpool running into cover, crouch sprinting to the next cover, Gears of War style. Dual wielding with a battle rifle in one hand and slicing someone in half with a Lancer assault rifle in the other hand. Throwing a grenade and yelling, flashbang through the door. Getting several kills in a row and calling in the dogs. Sometimes when his health is low, you hear the iconic Halo no armor beeping, and sometimes when he dies, he blows up, and you see the Gears of War skull symbol. If there ever is a moment in the game where he has to sneak around, it can feel like an arcane game, but if he gets spotted, it plays the fighting music from Elder Scrolls. If he picks up any weapons from Crackdown 3, he immediately throws it back down and refuses to use it. All of this would be handled in typical Deadpool humor, but they would be small instances in the game. I'm not sure how difficult it would be to have so many different studios collaborating together for one game. Even if just a little bit, they could have one main developer and have everyone else added their own key elements here and there. Someone like Ninja Theory could handle the sword combat. And if there are parts where it's clearly melee combat influence from Elder Scrolls, he can comment at how bad it feels. What are your thoughts? Does it sound like a complete disaster, etc., or an ambitious concept? I actually quite like this idea. I actually think the idea is very, very good.
Yeah.
How it would be executed, I feel like it would still be the one developer that still does all of this stuff.
Yes, of course.
Like, you don't need Coalition's input to have the nod to Gears.
Of course
or
not.
have the crouching into cover. You don't technically need them. I'm not saying
And you don't
help
buy
them.
the IP either. You license the IP.
Yeah.
Well, the irony
Marvel's
is
not
that
gonna sell
Activision. The irony is that Activision did the Deadpool game, and it was done by High Moon. So Microsoft will soon own the studio that made the Deadpool game. the 2013 Deadpool. 2013? Was it 2013?
Yeah, I think it was late 360, PS3, and then was remastered.
Yeah, I've actually got the Deadpool game on PS3, and I rebought it on Xbox.
2013.
Because remember when Activision renewed a bunch of Marvel licenses? Marvel Ultimate Alliance got an Xbox One port, Deadpool got an Xbox One port, and PlayStation 4, obviously. There was a bunch of games that got ported again. So I quickly grabbed it. Because of Microsoft's commitment to backwards compatibility, I was like, yep, buying Deadpool. So I've got it on PlayStation 3, but it was done by Activision and High Moon. So they would have the studios to do a Deadpool game, literally, because they would own the studio that made the Deadpool game. But there was a bit of jank to it, and guess who voiced Deadpool?
Nolan North? No, really?
Yes, and he just sounded like Drake.
Are you
He
serious?
just sounded like Yeah, it was Nolan North voicing Deadpool.
That's messed up, man.
But I would want them to get Ryan Reynolds to do it. But yes, I think a Deadpool game would be a great get.
It's right
for Xbox.
I'm kind of surprised now thinking back about it that we haven't had one with the recent success of the movies. You know?
I know. Well, the movie came out only a few years after the game.
Yeah.
And if you've played the game, it's very fourth wall breaking.
Yeah.
He talks to the camera, he grabs the camera and makes fun of video gamers, and
it would be cool.
I think I think that concept could work, but at the same time it could also be a genuinely good character action game.
Yeah. What it should hopefully have to be.
I think it could be really good. And you break all the fourth wall stuff. In terms of, if I had to pick a single developer to do it, Ninja Theory would be a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, look at DMC.
And
they made Heavenly Sword.
Even just
so
like
they've
art style, design-wise, Bleeding Edge, it fits in really well.
Yeah, they've got the chops. Ninja Theory have the chops to do it. They'd own High Moon, so you could just... You could just give it to High Moon and give High Moon the time and the budget to do it better.
I forgot High Moon still existed, man.
High Moon's an incredible studio.
Cybertron games, right?
Like, my biggest hope, and this, I'm sorry for this tangent again.
Yeah, sorry.
My biggest hope for ABK, this is my number one hope. I don't care about COD and Game Pass, whatever. My biggest hope for ABK is that Microsoft turns around and goes, listen, all you studios, you 75 studios on COD duty, you're not on COD duty anymore. The core studios will keep doing COD and we'll staff them up and we'll give them the support studios they need and blah, 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 to keep doing COD. High Moon, do your own thing. Vicarious Visions, you're back and you're doing Tony Hawk.
Well, that's not
Toys for
happen,
Bob.
But... They're Blizzard now.
Never know.
They're Blizzard now.
You never know. You never know.
Toys for
maybe
Bob,
Microsoft brings back Tony Hawk.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Who knows?
And Toys for Bob should be, hey, you're off of COD.
Yeah, Toys for Bob.
Off of flipping Crash, and you're on Spyro. Please, can we get a Spyro game? Crash already got
Banjo.
a game.
Hello.
Okay, Banjo too, but Spyro does.
Banjo Conker. Hello. Jet Force Gemini. Come on. You get all these studios that, Raven.
Yeah.
Raven.
Well,
Raven
not
is
going anywhere.
They're very much tied to Warzone now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
That's so sad. Raven was an incredible... Raven did X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
Which, to this day, is like the greatest God of War clone
I
ever.
really gotta play this game one day, man. You keep talking about it so much. I gotta play it.
God, it's so good. Like, it's crazy how good... Like, so, in a Rumour Mill, I think we talked about... Did we? Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me check one thing.
While he's looking this up, there was a recent rumor saying that Raven is making the next COD campaign, according to the comments. That'd be interesting.
Wait. Hold on. I'm checking my OneNote to see if this is something I've said before I say something that gets me in a lot of trouble. Hold on.
One thing I got from this question for sure is...
Oh my God. Okay, it is a Rumour Mill.
Okay, you did say it. Okay.
Oh my God, thank God. Let me just. Yeah, I'm just. It's a Rumour Mill. Hold on. Oh my god! You know, it was a Rumour Mill that you and Daniel were on as well.
What? Really? Wait. This was about what?
It was about the plan at the moment is that once ABK goes through, there's some more backwards compatible games that will come.
Yeah.
As a result of ABK going through.
That one got a lot of traction, dude. Like a bunch of sites picked that up.
Yeah, and I just quickly watched it, and it was the last one you were on. So yes, so I just wanted to make sure that it was out there because I didn't. This is what I mean. I'm really I'm paranoid about this stuff. I don't want to say stuff I'm not supposed to say.
We could play the games. Yes. Yeah. Hopefully.
So
hopefully we can.
As part of ABK going through, the plan is a bunch of BC games should come through as a result of it. So games that were just held up by Activision licensing,
yes,
should now just flow through. My prayer, like I said, I don't have a list. I do know a couple of the games, and I'm not allowed to say. But my prayer is that, because remember, Microsoft's got a great relationship with Disney.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, they have a good relationship with Disney and theoretically Disney games. So my hope is that between Activision being owned and those studios being owned and their relationship with Disney, my hope is that they work and go, hey, can we make Marvel Ultimate Alliance BC, X-Men Origins Wolverine BC, all those old Spider-Man games BC? Can we just agree to come to terms and let's bring those games back? Because look what happened to Black Ops 2 when it went BC. Yep. Topped the sales charts. Red Dead Redemption tops the sales charts. Let's get all these Marvel games backwards compatible on 360 and OG Xbox for the Series X. And we'll even work with our team to enhance some of them. Like, that's my hope when ABK goes through. Because, man, do I want Marvel Ultimate Alliance and X-Men Origins Wolverine to be backwards compatible. I would... Like, if you still have a 360, if you still have an Xbox 360, try and get yourself a copy of X-Men Origins Wolverine. It is... If you love those OG God of Wars, the hack and slash ones...
Yeah.
It's the best clone of those games that there is. It's the best one.
I do not have a 360, so I'll wait for, hopefully, fingers crossed, that it comes to BC. And the Spider-Man games, actually. That'd be fun. But I wonder if...
I don't remember the old Spider-Man games, the old Activision ones. I didn't play... I think I played the Dreamcast one.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Spider-Man 2, I think.
Yeah. It was on PS2 as well, I think.
Yeah. But there was so... Like... Spider-Man games, they were like CODs back before COD was a thing.
Yes, seriously.
Spider-Man games from Activision. So before COD said we're all in on, before Activision said we're all in on COD, they were like that with Spider-Man games. Go back and have a look at how many Spider-Man games Activision published. They did a ton of Spider-Man games.
And don't forget the original Xbox games like Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
Yes, but that's not Activision,
would be
is
good.
it?
Wasn't shit. I thought it was.
Damn
my old memory.
Was that? Can you Google it?
I will.
Was that Ultimate Destruction?
Vivendi?
Activision?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that one might be locked up with Vivendi and everything.
Vivendi's still around? What the hell?
Yeah. X-Men Legends, I'm seeing in the chat. Yeah, there's so many. There were amongst all the Drek and the shovelware.
Oh no, yeah, Vivendi is owned by Activision Blizzard.
Exactly, right? They did the merge.
Hulk Ultimate Destruction. Yeah, that would be big too, wouldn't it? Like those
I knew
games.
I looked that up before.
That's money. Like, why wouldn't Disney want it done? It's free money. People will buy those games and they'll get a cut of that money. It's free money for Disney. Like, why wouldn't you? Be huge. Can you imagine how many people would just buy all those Marvel games again? Those older Marvel games? Like, I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if X-Men Origins Wolverine came close to charting on the MPDs. Like, that game was, and with, and time it with Deadpool 3. I don't know. Anyway, it would just be, man. Be so good. That was a good question.
That was.
We went off on a tangent, but it was a good question. Last question. 3.5 hours. Wow.
Yeah, holy crap.
Jesse brother. Buongiorno, Nick. Buonasera, Travis brother. And buonanotte, John, who is not here. I greet you all in Italian, as Mario is first language Italian who immigrated to America. Not that I care that Chris Pratt sounds like Chris Pratt. I do. Nor do I retain any actual nostalgia for Mario. I do. Like one of these fake pandering YouTubers pretend to. That's not me. I do so because I actually remember when Pratt was announced for the role, how a good amount of people were concerned that he may put on an insulting voice to imitate an Italian. Well, good news, he didn't. Didn't he, though? But you know who did? Meet Charles Martinet from San Jose, California. The voice actor who's played Mario since the early 90s, and has done so with the most goofy, cartoonish, fake Italian accent you could imagine. And no one seemed to have a problem with that when they were worried about Pratt might end up sounding like. Now that we learn Pratt sounds like Pratt, i.e. is not putting on some fake cartoony accent, no one wants that either. I think the only way they could have satisfied all parties would be to hire some unknown Italian-born actor who speaks English as a second language and have him say shit like, "It's a me." Never mind the talking mushrooms or the giant bipedal dragon tortoise. Just have known actors who can be funny doing those voices. But the chubby cartoon plumber guy who wears overalls and falls for the made-up princess, don't you dare ruin my nostalgia in any way. God, I am glad I'm not one of these idiots. And I don't even plan on watching this stupid movie either way. Look, I get, technically, the Charles Martinet Mario voice is a little bit racist. It is a little bit, if we're going to get technical about it. The problem
it's a caricature, for sure, right? That's without a doubt.
The problem is, for some reason, Italian and Greek seem to escape that trap of political correctness where people get upset about it. For some reason, Italians and Greeks are sort of open slather on the casual racism scale, and I'm not sure why that is. Like, I didn't see much uproar about Russell Crowe's performance as Zeus.
Yeah, right. That was a pretty heavy.
I found it hilarious. Like, Russell Crowe's from Melbourne, and I'm from Melbourne. Lots of Greeks in Melbourne. So I'm sure Russell Crowe was channeling the Greek people he grew up with and their fathers.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he did that. But to someone, like, I wasn't offended by it. I found it hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just surprised. Like, if I was gonna put my objectivity hat on, it could be interpreted as a little bit racist.
I feel like maybe if you're doing the accent that like your own race has too, well, like visual race, I should say, more than anything else. Like, for example, if I did like an Indian accent, I don't think people would consider it racist, even though I wouldn't. Definitely not. Ugh. But you know.
Yeah, well, sort of like the actor in Big Bang Theory.
Yes. Yeah.
That's not his normal accent. Yep. He puts on that Indian accent.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, and there are a lot of examples. What's his face in Silicon Valley, right? The comedian's name, forgot his name, but you know, a lot of examples like
Kamal Nanjiani.
No. He the Asian guy.
I've never watched the show.
Oh, okay.
Neither have I. I know the show, but I've never watched the show. I know
it's directed by Mike Judge or made by Mike Judge. He's Greek. Yeah. So, anyways,
but Russell Crowe's obviously not Greek.
He's not Greek. Yeah. No, you're right.
So I was surprised there wasn't more uproar. But the thing with Charles Martinet is, back in the 90s, so if making fun of Italians and Greeks isn't seen as racist now, how was it going to be in the 90s?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, in the 90s, it was even less so. And it's become so iconic now and so ingrained that no one even notices how casually racist it is.
Yeah.
And ultimately, no one cares. So, yeah, but
it's been an enormous part of Hollywood for a very long time.
Yeah.
Of that Italian New Yorker accent.
Yes. It's weird. Italian and Greek is this weird racism loophole that gets through. It's A-okay. Again, I as a Greek person, I don't care. It doesn't, like, I just don't get offended by it.
I'm
I
telling
grew
you,
up
it's
with
it's
it.
visual stuff is what it is. People, it's hard to see race just by looks. Like, I get mistaken for Indian all the time, even though I mean technically I am, right? Come on, but still, you know what I mean. I get mistaken for Arab every once in a while, and it's definitely a visual thing. You see a white guy doing another white accent, they think it's okay. But you see like a white dude doing a brown accent, they'll throw a fit. You see a brown dude doing a fake white accent, even that's like, okay, what are you doing, bro? Like, we know this isn't your real accent. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? Stuff like that. I don't know.
It's an interesting one. Again, I personally don't care. I just like seeing Greek things in media. That's always been my take on it. Whether it's making fun of, whether it's legit, whether it's... I just like seeing it. So when Russell Crowe jumped on as Zeus, I cracked up laughing. I thought it was funny as. So yeah, the Charles Martinet thing, I get it. You can't have his voice for 2 hours.
No.
You can't have him voicing what I assume is going to be a decent speaking role.
Yeah.
You can't have Charles Martinet going, oh, wahoo, hey, let's go get the... Like, it would become too grating. It works in the games, but
it would.
You can't have him doing it in the movie. My thing is, you can't just have Chris Pratt doing his own voice. Like, you can't. There's legitimately good Italian actors out there that naturally have an Italian accent when they talk.
Yeah.
And all they have to do is just tweak their own voice slightly.
Or like, if you wanted
did you hear the French dub?
I did hear the French dub. Yeah. Sounds great.
Pretty good, Mario.
To Italian, though, which is why. But
it doesn't quite reach Martinet.
Yeah.
Pulls back on the Martinet thing and gets it, I think, just right.
Yeah. And like, if they were going to do a Brooklyn accent, why not do someone that can do a better Brooklyn accent? Or someone that's known for
That's what I mean. Get an Italian actor that is in those movies. So that's from
Vin
Sopranos
Diesel.
or from...
He's done a Brooklyn accent?
Like, I still think you could even... Like, at first, De Niro popped into my head. De Niro, but then I'm like, oh my God, De Niro. But then I'm like, no, you could just lean into it and say, well, no, this is an older, gruffer Mario. And have De Niro do it. Or you could go younger. Or you could go quirky, like Totoro. But there's a lot of good...
They want young because they want to make a series out of it. And those guys are close to dead. Totoro.
I know those guys. Okay, but there's... Well, like I said, Milo Ventimiglia is younger than Chris Pratt, isn't he?
I don't think so. No? Well, either way,
I need to check this.
Anorexic in the chat just mentioned something where, ironically, Ben Schwartz, the voice of Sonic, is from the Bronx. I would have done
Milo's 45.
But see how no one got upset. See, I saw people on Twitter. So Milo is he 45?
2 years older, yeah.
How old's Chris Pratt?
30.
43.
43.
That's
man
2
looks good
years
for his age.
difference.
That's what I said. I said 2 years.
Yeah, it's 2 years difference. So you could get they could have got Milo Ventimiglia to do Mario.
Yeah, but he doesn't sell movies like Chris Pratt.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know his name. I just knew him from Hero.
No,
It's
I
Mario.
agree.
The movie's selling. The movie's already selling on Mario.
It's going to sell to Mario fans like yourself, but they want Chris Pratt fans.
So, well, hold on. Your example doesn't account for Sonic. Are you telling me Ben Schwartz is this big name actor that sold Sonic? No, Sonic was because of Sonic.
Could have been bigger.
He's not wrong. I'm assuming they want this movie to do really well.
Tom Cruise as Sonic, bam, $15 billion.
Those Sonic movies were fantastic, and Sonic 3 will be huge because of how good those first two movies were.
It'll do well. It won't blow the numbers up. It's just the kind of the nature of it. But they want Mario to do like stupidly well. I think they wanted to do Despicable Me numbers, which for some reason does like $1 billion at the box office. I don't know why. I don't.
Sonic 2 only did $400 million at the box office,
which is a lot for
anywhere near $1 billion.
That's still good.
Oh, it's amazing.
That's still
but they want great. They don't want good. You know Nintendo.
Yeah, but 400 million. The majority of movies, forget video game movies, the majority of movies would be wrapped to do over 400 million.
Any movie with the budget less than like 150, yeah, I'd agree.
But you do realize
Sonic's budget
even Despicable Me 3,
which
Despicable Me 3 did not review very well and made over $1 billion at the box office.
I love Despicable Me 3. I thought that was the best one.
It was decently reviewed. Actually,
wasn't that the one with Trey Parker?
50.
Wasn't that the one with Trey Parker?
I don't know. Never watched it.
All I know just going to
Yes,
3
it
is
was.
there was this weird challenge.
I
where you go
love
short
that
with
one. That was my
suits.
favorite one.
What?
Yeah, reviewed real bad.
E3 was so good.
And it made $1 billion.
Yeah, that was great. Rise of Gru was. It was not.
Oh, Rise of Gru was the latest one. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I
That's
was
what I
not a
was thinking
big
of.
fan of that one. But Despicable
How much
Me
do you think
3,
Rise of Gru made at the box office?
800?
$920 million.
Yeah, it did
Wow.
stupidly well. I mean, look
I
at
don't
this
think
perspective
Mario
too,
will
though.
do that well.
Sonic doesn't have the budget that
With
Mario
Chris
does.
Pratt, it might.
See, I think the opposite. I actually think Chris Pratt and his voice being so wrong will hurt it.
It might hurt it for Mario fans who are still going to go and see it. It's going to pull in the people that aren't in that Venn diagram of Mario and Chris Pratt fans.
And
Chris Pratt fans being pulled in, $30 billion.
keep in mind, it's not just Chris Pratt. It's a star-studded cast all around.
Yeah.
Right. Even Charlie Day, Jack Black. You know, like Anna Taylor-Joy.
But
like,
their voices go well.
no, what I'm
that's
saying
what
is
annoys
the
me.
whole movie had a much bigger budget than Sonic did. So they definitely
Yes,
wanted to make more.
probably does.
Right.
It probably does.
In the return, Morbius. We don't want to know how much it made at the box office.
How much did
its second-
Morbius make?
Well, they brought
Didn't
it back,
Morbius
remember? It
make-
must have been great.
Yeah, didn't Morbius make at the second time around like $15?
It was 100
Or something?
164 million total for Morbius.
Was it
Holy
Morbius
crap,
like
that's a flop.
$15? Like one dude went and bought a ticket and that was the only sale they got.
Yeah,
the
it
second
made
time?
like a few grand or something. It was
Sad stuff, man. Okay, it has been
Yeah.
3 hours and 40 minutes, I think.
Sonic 3 is going to be so
Holy
good.
crap. Have you guys had an episode?
Sonic 3 is going to be...
yeah. When we've had it for like 4 hours, I think, with Jez
Jesus.
and Rand, something like that.
But yes, Sonic 3 is going to be awesome. Jesse, you should
Sonic
watch the
3
movies.
is
They're
going to
actually pretty good.
be...
I'm never gonna watch them. Nor will I watch Mario.
I'm going to watch Mario. I'll
for
watch
sure.
it regardless. I'm just scared that Chris
Yeah.
Pratt's voice will ruin the whole movie for me.
What if you get this, like, wait for it to come out and you watch it at home and you've got all the lines of Chris Pratt and then you do an Italian accent and talk over him?
Yeah. I could. I mean, Italian and Greek's basically the same thing.
What,
So I could
bruv?
I could just... Bruv. We don't say bruv. Yeah. I could have a crack. I could have a crack at it.
Crack is bad. Don't do crack.
I could have a crack at it. I just... I don't know. I'm scared. I'm worried about
look at the
Pratt's
pros.
voice.
Like, I did not expect it to look as good as it did. Honestly, I didn't. That took me by
I
surprise.
did.
That good though? Like, I've seen this
Yeah.
with me. They don't look that good.
Nintendo's very funny about their like.
Yeah, fair enough.
I know they weren't in the old days. I mean, look at the old Mario movie and look at the TV show, the cartoons, and all that sort of stuff. Nintendo didn't care in the old days. Now Nintendo's a lot like how Marvel is becoming. How Marvel's all about, you know, okay, we're done with the shovelware Spider-Man games. We want a high quality Spider-Man game. You know, yep.
I see what you
So
mean.
these studios have to pitch to Marvel and be like, well, this is our vision for an Iron Man game. So I'm hoping Motive went to Marvel and were like, okay, here's Anthem. Imagine this with Iron Man suits. And, you know, missions and...
How did we get back
swear
to
to
Iron
God.
Man? What the?
He
You guys are
always
talking about these
manages
games.
to get back to Iron Man.
I was trying to get it. I'm like, wait,
If you want
what?
to do shovelware Disney, you go to their mobile division, then you're good.
Yes. Holy crap.
Yeah. Like...
Same with Nintendo. Go to them for some shovelware mobile games.
Nintendo is very thing about the quality of the stuff attached to their name in games, and now they weren't in the old days, but now they're a lot more strict on it. Like
Except for mobile.
But if you look at their video games, all Nintendo Switch games, like they're very like Nintendo doesn't really do patches for broken stuff because their games don't really come out broken. Like Nintendo releases games that work.
And it's rare
Like
for
I'm
Nintendo-
trying to
Yeah.
please correct me, chat, but the last time Nintendo had anything in a game break was Twilight Princess, where they released an app to fix your save file. I think it was Twilight Princess
If you've
or Skyward
played
Sword. It might have been
Breath-
Skyward Sword.
If you've played Breath of the Wild, all your weapons break.
Yeah, well, that's a thing.
But yeah, no, I see what you mean.
but
It's
yeah,
rare for Nintendo to release a bad game. You know what I mean?
Well, they forgot to put any like intrigue or mystery into the entire map of Breath of the Wild. They completely broke that one.
I'm just saying though, from a polish and whatever perspective, Nintendo is pretty much untouchable with their games because they
maybe Acreus might have released a bit of a rough.
That is the Pokemon company though, so those end up being
I was
weird.
about to say they're a little
thing.
bit. They're like this weird. In between thing where they're not Nintendo but they are but they're not. That's different.
They're
I'm
their
talking
own
about
thing,
Nintendo.
but they're exclusive with them. But
I'm talking Nintendo. Kirby, Mario, Yoshi,
you guys are right.
Metroid, all that sort of stuff. Like even Metroid. Say what you want about it, whether you liked it or not, but playing Metroid felt incredible. The game was very polished. It was, amazing. That's how Nintendo is, and I think they're like that with this movie. They're like that with Mario plus Rabbids. They worked very, very closely with Ubisoft to be like, nah, man, if this is a Mario game that we're gonna let you guys do, then it needs to have that Nintendo polish and sheen to it. And if you've played Mario plus Rabbids, it does. It feels and looks like a game made by Nintendo.
It's a legitimately good game too.
Oh, yeah, unbelievable game. So good.
Thanks to the rabbits.
Yeah, we're rambling now, and it's because it's the end of the show, so that's fine. Britt said here that he watched Bullet Train. That caught my eye because I also watched Bullet Train, and Bullet Train is amazing.
You liked it? I was debating.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I haven't seen it. I got bad reviews quickly, so I wasn't sure about it.
Bullet Train. That's where Brad Pitt fits.
Okay,
that's Brad. Okay. That to me, that's where Brad Pitt belongs. Like, Bullet Train is like one part Snatch, one part Oceans. A dash of Lock, Stock. It's like all these bits of these really good gangstery type heist movies blended into one. Really good casting, cool story. Bullet Train, Bullet Train is you got to watch it.
I need to. I'll watch it Tuesday. If you haven't seen Barbarian, by the way, if you watch horror movies, watch it. I'm just saying. Barbarian. Yeah, I went in knowing very little about it. It was a horror movie, and really liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bullet Train's great. Watch Bullet Train.
I will give it a watch. I'll watch it this.
If you liked all those sorts of movies,
yeah, I love action.
Like Oceans, like Snatch, like Lock, Stock, The Gentleman.
What is that?
Okay. If you like those kinds of movies, watch Bullet Train.
Okay.
It's awesome.
I definitely will.
Super good. So I think that's it.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the 4-hour mark. So we will wrap this up here. I want to thank Aarsal for making the time to jump on.
Thank you for inviting me. Always love being
with
on
John
here.
Once again, abandoning us. Jesse for keeping the show running in the background. The chat's been great. Please, I know it's the end, but please hit that like button. I don't know how many viewers did we end up having live?
158.
Get up to it was in the mid 100s for a little while.
Okay, so let's try and get the likes to match. I promise I will try and see if I can bend someone's arm to get a Rumour Mill from one of the things I've been told recently, because there's some really good ones that I hate that I have to keep my mouth shut about. So I want to try and get one of those things out. And with that, we will say goodbye. Hopefully, I'm trying to work on guests as well. No one's
you have a long
replying
weekend
to me.
This weekend, by the way?
Sorry?
Is it a long weekend for you this weekend? No, okay. All right.
No. So with that, we will say goodbye because we've been on way too long and I need to go have a coffee. Yeah. So thanks to everyone. We'll see you all next week. Aarsal, goodbye.
Yeah, thank you
Jesse,
again for
goodbye.
having me. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye.
Ciao for now.
See you guys.